Woo. I'm so sorry. I actually forgot I was live, y'all. Girl, I was sitting here in the damn daze. It's a lot going on. I want y'all to pray for my temperament. You guys know that I'm very short patient. I'm a Scorpio. I'm all fire. And it's easy for me to turn into a ball of fire. But, I've been fasting for the past few weeks. This once a day eating and all of this has just got me feeling real woosah and amazing. So I want to stay in that energy to the best of my ability. But y'all know I'm a Scorpio, baby. And y'all know I will turn into fire immediately. So send me patience and send me all of the adult things. You guys see what we're here to get into. Before we do so, go ahead and run those likes up, but we need all of that. YouTube is real raggedy. I thought that YouTube was just slowing me down, but I see that everybody is being slowed down. Everybody's views are looking weird. Everybody's live streams are looking weird. So YouTube is doing whatever the hell they are doing. They've been doing what they've been doing for the past few weeks now. I don't know what they got going on, but it is what it is. We typically average, to 300 to 400 folk average on the platform when we're live. However, it's been not even really showing or barely cracking 100. But then when we're done with the live stream, it's already at 1K. So there's something going on with the optics and the measurements of Miss YouTube. I hope they get their ish together, because as content creators, we work too hard to bring content to this platform, to drive traffic to this platform. It is called YouTube. So YouTube would literally be nothing without its creators. They really need to pull their fair share of the weight. It's already bad enough that they don't send out notifications like they should. They only send out notifications to less than 10% of your subscriber count, and then leave everybody else to pretty much fend for themselves who are subscribed to you. It's just a really wacky ass platform, to be honest. But a lot of us are already so invested, and the money is pretty good. So we put up with the shenanigans of it all. But there needs to be a definite rehaul. Anyway, thumbs up the video, like, set your reminder, share, all of that good stuff. And if you appreciate and grow, because the Kang is definitely Kanging any of the work that I'm doing here, make sure that you guys show some love to the Cash App, $Consciouztv, and or PayPal.me/Consciouztv. Conscious spelled just how it is here on the platform. All handles, emails, Patreon, Instagram are in the description box below. Shout out to the street committee who've been sending me the tea all day. I could not have made today happen without you guys. So thank you guys so much for loading me up. And last but not least, please share the stream out to wherever it is you have digital community, whether that be your YouTube community wall, your Snapchat, your MySpace, the dark side of Twitter, Tumblr, or your personal OF. I don't really give a where you lay the link. Just let them know that we're loud, we're live, and we're certainly in color. And with no further ado, let's go ahead and push on through.
I know a place where you can recharge your soul.
Baby, that's Consciouztv.
And in the midst of brokenness, he gon' see your asshole.
Baby, that's Consciouztv.
You gon' heal, you gon' laugh and catch a little shade.
Ooh, girl.
Y'all know he be slaying, y'all better stop playing. Come hear what he's saying.
Ladies and gentlemen.
What's going on, Conscious Crew? Hi, this is the Improv Live, girl. We are going to get into the business. Let me speak y'all before we get into the things. What's going on, Chowder? What's going on, Peaches? Hey, Easy Breezy. What's going on, Dazzle.Taro? Hey, Corinthia. Hey, Lisa. Oh, yes, God. Hey, Courtney. What's going on, Ian Gardner? Hey, Peaches. Hey, Ambi. Hey, Keita. What's going on, beautiful ones? Hey, Cup of Conversations. Hey, love. What's going on, Nautica, hey boo. What's going on, Rumors and Tea? Hey y'all, what's going on? Hey Carolyn, hey y'all. So I was up, girl. Pam had done called me. I had missed her call, and just when I was about to call her back, I saw that she was live. So I click on Pam's live. You guys know Pam, the law intellect girl. She's our residential attorney. She was doing a live stream, I guess addressing some of the comments in her comment section about Desiree Perez, and come to find out, girl, Desiree's daughter, Demoree Hadley, who recently filed a lawsuit against her mother, Desiree Perez, who is the CEO of Jay-Z's very own ROC Nation. She sued her mom on like 13, 14 different counts of, all type of things, ranging from RICO to racketeering to false imprisonment, fraud, etc. She's also suing a plethora of other individuals. Some of those people are therapists, psychiatrists, counselors, and various other people who she believes have been in some type of conspiratorial coup with her mom to have brought about some of the incidences in her life, such as her ending up in a 5150 hole for 72 hours. She believes that her mother illegally arranged that, and that everybody from the psychiatrist to the police involved all were in a coordinated effort to illegally obtain her against her will. She also accused her mother of attempting to try to break up her marriage to her black husband, JAVON Hadley, and is accusing her mother of having him illegally arrested, etc. Girl, it is a mess. We have read through Demoree Hadley's initial complaint and lawsuit, which you guys can find in part 1 of the channel today, and then we also came back around for part 2 and got into her mother, CEO Desiree Perez's response, which we know that like a lot of content creators are not going to do, right? A lot of blogs and content creators, they only kind of read and reference the initial complaint because that's the most sensationalized. But then they don't actually keep up with the lawsuit. They don't keep up with the docket. They don't keep up with the defendant's rebuttal and defense, etc. But, we did that. Pam also did that. So make sure that you guys are subscribed to Pam the Law Esquire on YouTube. And you guys know we also, we're going to come back in a part 3. I'm probably going to do that tonight since I clearly got time to get into Desiree's lawsuit against JAVON, her daughter's husband, aka Desiree's son-in-law, who sued JAVON along with Desiree's mother, father, and there's a few other people. They all sued JAVON regarding the abuse that was experienced and that was had against their granddaughter, Desiree's daughter, etc. Girl, we're going to get into all of that. So it's been a lot going on the last 48 hours. It's just been a lot going on. Well, allegedly, Demoree Hadley left a comment in Pam's previous live stream. I guess it was Pam's initial reading of Demoree's complaint. And this is what Demoree Hadley had to say, y'all. And once again, pray that I keep the Phoenix Force, at bay, to just pray, child, just pray. it's y'all already know how I feel, especially after reading Desiree's response, girl. I am almost already through with this whole lawsuit. Like, Desiree's response literally like alley-ooped Demoree's whole shit. Like, Desiree ate Demoree alive, girl. Ate her alive. I'm sorry, ate her alive. I'm not a part of the conspiratorial sector of YouTube of people, who like to push these conspiracies against Jay-Z and ROC Nation and all of that, even though I don't believe that Jay-Z or ROC Nation are completely innocent of things. I mean, like any corporation, like any business, like most institutions, you know, there is foul play somewhere at times, etc. But, you know, I'm not the content creator that's hell-bent on pushing all these urban legends against ROC Nation, especially when most of it right now is fodder and flutter, and there's really no substance to a lot of the hoopla against Jay-Z and ROC Nation. So, you know, I'm able to just be as in the middle and neutral and balanced and just kind of deal with what is happening in the moment. And from a legal standpoint, I mean, I don't even know how Demoree honestly is even going to rebuttal against her mother's defense, because she got ate up. She got ate up, and she got to the 10th of this month to respond to her mother's rebuttal, girl. There is a chance that possibly this lawsuit could be dismissed, or at least Desiree's part might end up dismissed. Demoree may have a case against all the other parties and John Doe's that, you know, she's suing. It'll be up to them to defend themselves adequately against the accusations against them. But Desiree definitely put up a fair one and KO'd her daughter in the defense, girl. Like, I was really shook after reading Desiree's rebuttal. But this is what Demoree said in Pam's Esquire's comment. Now, I'm going to say allegedly, right? Because like Pam said, you know, it could be a troll account, who knows, etc. But just taking it at face value, this YouTube account is calling themselves Demoree Hadley, and they said this: you should contact me and read my complaint so you can understand all audio and video are fabricated, manipulated, edited, AI altered evidence. The state of Florida wrote this, and we have proof, and that friend testified to that being false. She recorded us having SEX. That's how disgusting she is and how much technology she used against us. So read my complaint and contact me and research. If all this evidence was real, we wouldn't have won the cases. Thanks. Let me tell you, girl, Pam is a better woman. Pam is a better woman. Pam is a better woman, girl. Because the stankness and the balagna and the dirty footness that is just coming up off and radiating up off of that comment, girl, you know, God bless Pam. Pam said this in response: I'm sure your lawyer will respond to the motion she filed with your proof, and that will be read as well. She says one thing and you say another in the pleadings. So it's your position that you were never struck by your husband and it's all made up? ? What exactly are you alleging is made up? Whatever is presented in court, I have no problem reporting that as well. However, I'm not just going to state what you say it was without stating what she says that it was as well. Thanks. Baby, I love that little slick, little feminine shit right there, okay? That little snarky shit right there. Girl, what is so... Let me take my time through this. Today has been a whirlwind. I wasn't even going to come back tonight because I'm still processing the craziness and the roller coastering of the lawsuit itself, of the way that Demoree has already been playing in our faces on social media, the way she's already contradicting herself based upon the statement she's making on social media versus what she actually said in her complaint. And now the fact that she's out here in comment sections allegedly trying to get media and social media influencers in her back pocket. She's literally doing the very same thing that she's claiming that her mother is doing. She literally has been on social media for the last 48 hours claiming that she... Oh, is Pam in the chat? I can't see Pam from StreamYard. Hold on. Let me go on the Hey, mistress. It's a lot of y'all I cannot see on StreamYard for some reason. I don't know why I can't see y'all on StreamYard, but if I come on to like the actual app, I can see some of y'all, but I can't see all of y'all on the actual StreamYard app. That's crazy. I don't know why YouTube does that. You guys, run those likes up. So she's actually doing what she's claiming that her mother is doing. She's claiming that her mother is rolling around, flagging channels, this, that, and the third, and is trying to suppress a commentary that they're all up and down Twitter and all over Facebook, and they're issuing takedowns, etc. But she's out here trying to strong arm content creators and influencers as well by claiming that they need to do research. For one, Demoree, nobody needs to do a research about your case. You're the one who brought a civil lawsuit against ROC Nation, against Desiree, and against a plethora of other individuals. It's actually not any of our job to do anything. Our job as media, our job as commentators, our job as platform holders is to deal with what you give us. We actually don't have a mandate or an obligation to have to do any further looking, lurking, researching, deep diving. That's actually a luxury that a lot of us bring to YouTube. When we go the extra mile, that's a bonus. We're commentators. We actually don't have to do no research. All we got to do is look and give an opinion just like our viewers do. They look and give an opinion. The only difference between us and our viewers is that we're giving our opinion on a channel. We're not journalists. We don't have to even have, honestly, no type of journalistic integrity either. We don't even have to even give correct information. Our job as commentators, first and foremost, is to do just that. Commentate based upon whatever is being reported. You issued a lawsuit. So anything that you wanted us to understand should have been in your complaint to begin with. If people still have to read, a 39-plus page lawsuit that took most of us an hour and a half, 2 hours to read, only to still, in all that you wrote, have to also independently reach out to you for further clarification, well, that would seem to be a misnomer on your part, because everything that you wanted understood, everything that you needed to provide, everything that you wanted the general public to get right, it was your responsibility to line that shit up. I don't remember seeing at any point on your lawsuit you saying, for all further questions, please contact me here, and here. You presented an entire case to the court. That case is what we're all reading. Now that we've established that, let's talk about the way you're even misrepresenting your own case, honey. And you're the one who got to deal with this, because, baby, I'm not LeVar Burton. We gonna deal with your words. We gonna deal with your presentation. We gonna deal with the way that you gave it up, okay? So you told Pam in Pam's comment section that all audio and video was fabricated, right? Class, you guys see this on the screen, right? All, in all caps, all audio and video was fabricated, manipulated, edited, AI, altered evidence. The state of Florida wrote this, and we have proof. Mind you, she also said this, class, in her Instagram story as well, which I'm going to show you right here. She doubled down on the same sentiment. Thank you to everyone supporting and seeing the abusive tactics Desiree, ROC Nation, and all their puppets on social media are doing to send fake evidence, altered photos, AI videos through fake pages to all my followers, friends, etc. So she doubles down. Let's bring it back up. The comment she left on Pam's page. Boom. What actually, Riddle me this. Riddle me this, Demoree. Hold on, y'all. Got a lot of stuff up here. Riddle me this. In your own lawsuit, my love. In your own lawsuit, you're not arguing that it's all made up, it's all fabricated, it's all deep fake, it's all Adobe, it's all Photoshop. You're not arguing that. What you're actually arguing, and you put excerpts in here from the 11-page memo that the state attorney wrote up in response to some of the evidence your mother presented to them regarding what you're calling the fake, frivolous charges against your boyfriend that initially got him apprehended. But the gag is, you put in quotation from the prosecutor what they said. They said there is an audio recording of the September 11, 2023 incident. This recording is an illegal recording and even still inconclusive of a battery. The recordings captures the defendant yelling at the victim, and it sounds like the victim says, "It don't hurt me." In another illegal recording, the victim confides in a friend that the defendant grabbed her neck. This would not explain the redness on the cheek and is not fully consistent with what the witnesses saw when they walked in. However, the victim's conversation with her friend is also part of an illegal recording and is further hearsay. So that would be a misrepresentation of what you're telling Pam. Because in your own lawsuit, despite you telling social media and you berating other content creators in their comment sections saying that, oh, all of that stuff was fake, you're arguing no in the actual lawsuit that is real. It's just illegally recorded. My mother planted recording devices in my room. Matter of fact, isn't that what you say here? That even your mother admits to an illegal recording in the Hadley's bedroom that you and your husband stayed in at your grandparents' house? Aren't you the same one? Literally, you're using the term recording devices. Unbeknownst to the Hadleys, Desiree kept both recording devices in their bedroom. So which one is it? Is it all fake, deep fake, but in the lawsuit, you're arguing no. This evidence is real. It was just illegally obtained. It was just illegally captured because my mother laced our bedroom up with secret recording devices. Matter of fact, don't you submit a picture of that recording? Oh, here it is. In addition to the illegal camera, Desiree also planted a listening device pictured below inside their room. Unbeknownst to the Hadleys, Desiree kept both recording devices in their bedroom for years, which is clearly illegal. So why in the hell are you out here on social media telling one narrative that, oh, my husband isn't abusing me, he's not going upside my head, he's not emotionally and verbally abusing me, it's all deep fake, it's all etc., it's all Adobe, but in your actual complaint, you are acknowledging that this evidence is real. It's just been, once again, illegally obtained. You're the one muddying the waters. You're the one talking out of both sides of your neck. Those are two entirely different narratives. You can't go from calling something fake, AI, not me. You have no idea, Pam, how much technology was used. This is all fake. And then you're going to argue in your lawsuit that it's real, and then also put excerpts in your complaint against your mother from the state attorney's office, who are also acknowledging the physical, objective, real-life evidence of that abuse that were in these recordings. And they literally state in their statements, we have questions about the way it was obtained because according to the victim, according to Demoree, this was illegally captured. These audios and footages were captured without her consent. These are secret recordings. Well, a secret recording still makes it a real life recording. And see, look, maybe I'm just too lucid for this. Maybe I'm just too lucid for this. You know, this is why I don't have the luxury of, you know, being able to capitalize off of a dumb audience, because my audience is very smart. They actually read. They have continuity in their thoughts. They actually remember this that people say. They actually remember this that people claim. And so when 1 and 2 are not 1 and 2ing, they can't accept the fake one, because you done put 2 2s amongst the 1. And then we're forced to have to actually see that. We don't have the luxury of acting like we didn't see it. So why are you on social media calling all the stuff that's out here going viral of you being abused, which is tragic and unfortunate, and it's sad that your mother is not being allowed to rescue you because you're not willing to give up on an alleged toxic situation that's also being corroborated by police affidavits, which your mother also submitted in her defense in this litigation. You don't think, because like I said in the previous live commentary, you really done messed up real bad, because it's only one of you. Your mother isn't the only person who has claimed to bear witness to the verbal, mental, and physical abuse you've been enduring, you've been putting your family in front of, that you've been putting on demonstrations, that you've been bringing your family into. But your grandparents have. Their names are on that lawsuit that we're going to get into against your husband. Police officers who responded to the scene. You don't think all these folk are going to be testifying on your mother's behalf? You're already being caught up in a bunch of lies already out of the gate. Because speaking of that recording device, right? This device here, let me blow this up. Let me blow this up. This that she claiming is a recording device, you guys. This here, my God, today. Hold your horses. Stay right there. Take a long, deep look at that. Let me do something. Let me log back in the Pacer, girl. I wish I would have had this already set up. Now I got to log in, honey. Now you're bringing out my journalistic integrity, baby. Because what you're not going to do, baby, you can play with your mama. You can play with your nigga. You can play with them courts, boo. But what you're not going to be doing is playing with some of us on these social media streets, boo. Because we do this. Hold on. Let me get a hold of this case. Let me get this case number. What this case number is? Hold on. What is it? Let me pull this on up. Because speaking of that little recording device, Miss Mamas. Hold on, let me move it on down. Move it on down, baby, to that little recording device. Yes, God, honey. What you put in your lawsuit as a recording device, girl. My God, today. My God, today. My God, today. My God, today. You know what your mother did? You know what your mother did? You know what your mother did? In her motion to have this lawsuit against her dismissed, in her amended complaint, in her amended motion to dismiss, you know what she did? She brought in a specialist and a tech to completely and utterly debunk what you put in your lawsuit was a recording device, a covert recording device, which you provided no proof of, might I add. You provided no forensics, no evidence. You did not demonstrate that what you're holding in your hand in this picture is even capable of recordings. You didn't even extract any recordings from it. Hold on. I got to sneeze. No, I don't. Yes, I do. Hold on. Okay, we're back. You know what your mother did? Your mother brought in a forensic specialist, my love. My love. Oh, yes, she did. And you got what? You got six days, baby, to make it make sense. Because your mother chewed you off the bone. Chewed you off the bone. What you guys see here on the screen that Demoree put in her lawsuit is a secret recording device she found. It's not even a damn recording device. What it is the battery pack out of a $7 toy off Amazon called the Pink Solar Powered Dancing Swinging Flower Cart Ornament Home Office Decorum Gift. When you break this device apart, you see what you get here? The battery pack. There's whole YouTube videos that the forensic specialists looked up of a user on YouTube breaking down this toy, dismantling it. And what do you see there? Oh my goodness. The battery pack, the solar panel. This object was in her room. The room that her and her ninja was staying in. They broke it apart and decided that the universal battery in this toy, that's in all of the toys, that's in all of these objects being sold on Amazon by this maker and vendor, was a recording device. And there are YouTube videos of people dismantling the object loud, live, and in color, showing you the inner workings of this damn toy. The forensic specialist provides a whole declaration, you guys, breaking down what this is and what this is not. The specialist has 20 years of experience, and here is him holding the same object. The same object, my love. I am just getting more and more gaslit by the foolishness of everything that's going on in the criminal justice system, everything that's going on in these lawsuits. I told y'all we're living in an upside down reality. This is literally unbelievable. Absolutely, V. She knows people will believe her because people hate ROC Nation, Jay, and her mother. People hate them. So, of course, they're going to run with all of the surface bull crap. They're not even going to read the rebuttal. They're not even going to read Desiree's response, girl. They're not going to deal with her expert witnesses to come in side by side. The literal same solar panel. This is in all of the objects. This is not an audio recording device. It's not secret spyware. And neither did Demoree produce any actuality that this object is capable of recording. Nothing. She just can take pictures and put a narrative to them and then throw all this ish into lawsuits and spin the block on her mother, who she sent a demand letter to in the weeks prior to her publishing this letter, because she actually was trying to get her to settle out of court, according to Desiree, for millions. And Desiree caught her bluff and said, pull the trigger, bitch. I want the smoke. It ain't going to be no out of court settlement, boo. bring it to the public because I'm about to chew you up and down, girl. Bon appetit. The mother provided police data. She provided affidavits and her exhibits as well to put in the proper context why JAVON did not end up getting charges filed against him. Let's deal. Where is the affidavit? Where's the affidavit? Okay. These are the actual incident reports by the police, not Desiree, by the police. On the Saturday, December 30th, 2023 incident at 1:07 p.m., this officer says, I was dispatched in emergency mode to the Pinto farm located at 14890 Southwest 216th Street in reference to a female being forced into a Dodge Charger with a Florida tag of called in by an anonymous complaint. But Demoree accused her mother of being the one who called in a kidnapping to the police when there is no evidence of Desiree calling in a kidnapping. The officer got a call from dispatch that they received an anonymous tip-off that Demoree was being kidnapped. They found no evidence of a kidnapping, etc. Boom, 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 boom. Another police report. Let's scroll on up, baby, because she had her exhibit shy. What date is this? This is September 11th of 2023. On Monday, September 11th, 2023, the officer says that the victim and the defendant, her husband, were disputing inside their bedroom regarding their business. Witness Zaya, now this is what the police officer is saying who's responding to the scene. Witness Zaya, who was at the residence, heard the victim crying and telling, "Don't hit me," several times. Witness Zaya's, fearing for the victim's safety, went into the victim and defendant's bedroom. As soon as witness Zaya's enters the bedroom, she observed the victim cowering in the corner while the defendant has his right hand raised and coming downwards toward the victim. Witness Zaya's immediately, it continues, to intervene by stepping in between the victim and the defendant, which is Demoree's husband, JAVON, right hand in an attempt to shield the victim and prevent her from being struck by the defendant. It should be noted that witness Zayas advised when she entered the room that she observed the victim's left side of her face red as if the defendant had already slapped her a few times. Now, Demoree is claiming that, oh, my friend is calling all cap. That never happened. Well, of course, that's your friend. She's going to have your fucking back. It's called loyalty. Okay? Shortly after, the victim can be heard admitting to being the victim. This is what the officer is saying, not what her mother is saying. This is what the responding officer to the scene is saying, who got called into the house because of a domestic dispute going on inside of the grandparents' homes, which we've heard the audios of. We're going to run those again. We've seen her getting hit upside her face and head, punched and all by her husband at their alleged private gym at their home. And here it is. This is another separate DV incident that's taking place that involves police having to pull up. Shortly after, the police officer says the victim can be heard admitting to being the victim of a domestic battery for this incident, but not wanting the defendant to be in trouble. Isn't that interesting? That the police officer said that the defendant admitted to being a victim, being abused, being struck, but did not want any legal consequence to come unto her man. You know what's interesting about Demoree putting in her initial complaint excerpts from the state attorney's office in their 11-page memorandum about the charges and why they were not going to pursue any or dismiss those charges against JAVON? You know what they said while she's trying to like edit out the parts that fit her narrative and not include the entire statements that are in support of the DA's perspective? Is even according to NBC, whose journalist reached out and obtained that 11-page memo, who Demoree also sat down and gave an exclusive interview to regarding her lawsuit against her mother. Even NBC's journalist said, what, class? Check this out.
At Memorial, her mother further petitioned to have her transported to a different facility under Florida's Marchman Act, claiming again
to the police.
In this closeout memo, a prosecutor with the Miami-Dade State Attorney's Office cites Demoree's lack of cooperation.
Demoree's lack of cooperation. That's very consistent. That the same state attorney's office you're trying to say, hey, this is the smoking GUN. This proves that my mother lied on my husband. No. They didn't pursue charges based upon two things. You telling them that the evidence your mother presented was illegally obtained, and two, due to a lack of victim cooperation, which is not the first time you've tried to shield your alleged abusive husband from legal consequence, because in the September 11th incident, based upon the police report, that officer who responded to that domestic dispute also said then that you did not want any legal consequence coming unto your husband.
And raises concerns about some of the evidence and how it was obtained.
So this is a false representation of even how you are wording why your husband did not get charged. He didn't get charged because you saved his ass. The district attorney, the state attorney was not able to pursue charges because you were not cooperating and you were claiming that all of that stuff was illegal. You wasn't even telling them that it was falsified. You wasn't even telling them that it was photoshopped. You wasn't even telling them that it was made up, that it was edited, that it's all deep fake alien technology that created that stuff. You literally are arguing that yes, and of course you should, right? Because see, you want to get the played up, this is all made up to social media, because what you were not banking on happening is your mother defending herself so adequately and eloquently and pulling the incident reports, pulling the responding officers' reports. You are so not thinking through this that you even have the audacity to actually point NBC and point the courts to the state attorney's office, who literally have an 11-page memo that exposes the fact that you obstructed them being able to hold your alleged abusive husband accountable. This is what happens when you don't think your shit through. Because the floor drops. The floor caves. The other shoe collapses. The other BBL butt cheek, it inflates when you don't think it through. Now let's deal with that evidence. Why you're calling your mother crazy and she made up all this ish while all of this stuff is going viral. alleged home surveillance of you getting punched in your face by your husband. And what your mother says in her complaint against you is a camera that you asked her to install in your home. Okay, I don't want to show her actually getting hit. He punches her dead in her face. We're going to skip forward. Then he pushes her into another room. Okay? This audio that she's claiming in court, not on social media. On social media, she's saying, oh, all this is deep fake AI. But in court, in her complaint, she's calling it, well, these are secret recordings. These are illegal recordings. My mother has secret devices all in my room, secretly recording me and my husband.
Okay. I'll pay you when I want to pay you, because you're going to be a 5%, Demoree. Just because I know I've been sick. I'm going to ask you again. You think it's okay to wake up at 9 o'clock and call somebody at 9:30 for a fucking business call? You think that's okay? Everything. Fucking. Oh, my mama. You know your mama thinks you the dumbest motherfucker ever? No, let me mind. Let me what I'm talking to you. Let me mind. Let me mind what I'm talking to you. Why not? No, I'm talking. I'm talking. Everything. See this shit you do? That's what you do. That's what you.
So you told Pam in her comment section, though, that this is all deep fake AI. She used all types of crazy technology to falsify, etc. But in your court filings, you said that these are illegal cameras that your mother planted, listening devices you found. And this isn't even a recording device in your hand or in your husband's hand that y'all put as an exhibit. It's a solar panel from a $7 toy in the room you and your husband was cohabitating in at your grandparents' home. So you just lying and lying and lying and lying. And look, our heart goes out to you because, see, we know that you are Stockholm. We know that you are in the most dangerous stages of victimization, where you ain't even able to call it abuse, girl. You are just walking in, he ain't hitting me, girl. I'm just walking, I'm be walking into the punches and shit. And you're throwing your mother and your whole family under the bus for mess you allegedly brought into their life. Mess you brought into your grandparents' space. Mess that you brought into your mother's life, who she provided text messages between you and her of you begging her to help her to make your abuser stay with him even when he was willing to leave you. Even when he wanted to go be with his own mother, you are begging your mother in text messages to help you to keep him bound to you because you refuse to be separated. You refuse to let him go. You refuse to live without him, that you will rather die. And do you know what your mother did after all these alleged DV encounters, after all these domestic disputes throughout the years, after you getting allegedly punched in your face, after this man being allegedly bold enough to hurt you even in the home, the personal home of your own family and relatives? You know what your mother did when she realized how far gone mentally you were? She employed her right to be of a very concerned nature and did what any reasonable, desperate, concerned parent would do. She enacted that Baker's Act and that Marchman Act because she feared for your well-being, what you would do to yourself and or what you would do to him, because she had had enough of witnessing all this shit. You were in quicksand and refusing to get yourself up out of it. So everybody else seemingly around you has tried to use their own weight, their own self-will to pull you out of something you refuse to let go of. And now you've weaponized all of that effort. And of course, does anybody like being put in the 5150? No. But are we going to be honest? All of us have been stigmatized a time or two. All of us have been not able to see the forest for the trees, been delusional about something, about someone, about a situation, not able to see clearly, not wanting to see the reality. If anybody would have put our asses in a 5150, it would have been upsetting, even if it would have been justified. But see, when your brain is broken and when you're desperate and delusional, nobody can help you. And anybody who doesn't agree with your delusion ends up being the villain. Anybody who is clear thinking outside of yourself, who's like, baby, I know you want 1 + 1 = 2, boo, but you realize this is multiplication, right? Girl, we're not even in the same genre of math at this damn point. You are still in your plus and subtractions, girl. You're adding subtraction, girl. And we're in multiplications. But you're so far gone that we're not even existing in the same reality about this thing. And because your mother couldn't do nothing with you because you were threatening to allegedly unalive yourself, if she did not allow him to come to the house, if your grandparents did not allow him to come over to the house, you were literally emotionally manipulating your community, the people that loved you, basically strong-arming them into participating in your abuse by enabling it. In all actuality, you got to stay with me, but you threaten to take your life if I don't let your man come over here and live too. If I don't let your man come be with you too. And it's sad that Demoree is still delusional and stigmatized. And maybe her man is going upside her head in ways that are unimaginable, which is why she got to get out here and save his reputation. She got to get out here and avenge her ninja because he's punishing her behind closed doors, possibly, allegedly, possibly going upside her head, constantly giving her the silent treatment until she go and avenge his ass, until she go punish her mother, until she go punish her family and make them pay for having the audacity to get up in his business, to get up in y'all's business, having the audacity to attempt to empower you and disempower him. And because you still not ready to give up on dick, you not ready to give up on the BBC, you got to get out here like a whole pick-Misha, like a whole male-identified woman, and put on your goddamn plastic cape and go sell your community and sell your loved ones down the river and weaponize everything that they tried to do to save you from yourself and to save you from your oppressor and your abuser. And now they're in a lawsuit. Now they're being slandered. Now you're doing your big one, trying to get a payout and trying to punish them for doing for you what they see you cannot do for yourself. This is fucked up. And if you guys want to get more into the nuance of Desiree's breakdown in her defense, catch the last live, because I don't want to go into all of that all over again, because I already done been there and done that, girl, but get into all of that. Because your mother chewed you up. She chewed you up in her defense. Chewed you up. Matter of fact, if anything, the crazy part about it is all this whole conspiracy over the years, over the decades about ROC Nation so powerful, they're so powerful, they're so powerful, girl. You making claims in your lawsuit that, oh yeah, this is ROC Nation and Desiree, and they got everybody in a chokehold. They got the police in their back pocket, the courts in their back pockets, the hospitals in their back pocket, and yet your complaint actually exposes the latter. Your complaint actually completely destroys that narrative. Because if that was the case, my love, if ROC Nation was so powerful, if they had all these other independent systems in a chokehold, you wouldn't be here alive to talk about it. You would still be in the 5150 where you claimed your mother was trying to put you at, was trying to institutionalize you, that she was in cahoots with the psychiatrist who signed off on your institutionalization. But yet, that same hospital that administered a toxicology report, administered a toxicology a procedure against you, integrally allowed your results to come back clean of any drugs. If there was a conspiracy, my love, they would have falsified the toxicology results. Your results would have came back positive for cocaine, ketamine, marijuana, THC, alcohol, crystal meth, acid, angel dust, the whole nine. Your entire lawsuit actually is debunking the fact that there is no conspiracy. The fact that the state attorneys, the district attorneys, are not pursuing charges against your husband because they took your word for it, who didn't want to cooperate and who said that, well, all that evidence was illegally obtained. Throw it out. And they did. So who really has those systems in a chokehold? Who's the one who actually has the power here? So how are you going to argue on one hand that these people, your mother and ROC Nation, is so powerful, and yet you single-handedly got the DA to not pursue charges against your husband? Your whole lawsuit actually exposes and debunks this mythology and urban legend that ROC Nation can put people away, can put people in prison. They could even keep your nigga in prison, and yet you got bitches out here talking about they put Tory away. They actually got her nigga on camera abusing her, and ROC Nation couldn't even put his ass away. There's not even any visual evidence of Tory popping Megan, and yet Tory is serving a 10. Girl, your complaint actually destroyed the mysticism of ROC Nation. It destroyed this whole idea that ROC Nation is just the center of the universe and that all these people are on payroll. Because all these people did nothing for your mother ultimately. They couldn't press charges on your nigga. They couldn't keep his ass locked up. And That hospital you claim she was conspiring with, the head psychiatrist that you said she was conspiring with, that she was paying, that she had authorized your evaluation, your institutionalization, is the same doctor in the same hospital that allowed your toxicology results to come back negative, which completely defeats the whole purpose of your claim that your mother was trying to have you put away because you threatened to OD. So if she was in a conspiratorial cabal with the psychiatrist, my love, they would have also falsified the documentation and had your system come at positive for everything so that they could have further justified keeping your ass in the 5150 until they see fit. You also claim that your mother tried to pretty much petition a guardianship that didn't go through. And you know why all these systems felt your mother, which she does have a legal right to call the police. She has the legal right to enact the Baker's Act, the da-da-da-da Act. She has the legal right to do all of that. It's up to those systems, those parties, to make their own independent assessments. And you know why your mother lost against all those people? Because all those systems were operating independently of your mother. They made their own assessment, which in the end benefited you and your husband, not your mother. That's why your husband is walking free, right? That's why he ain't got no pending warrants against him, right? That's why he's not in jail, right? That's why he hasn't been charged, right? That's why those charges were dismissed, right? That's why you were able to leave that psychiatric hold, right? That's why your toxicology report came back clear, right? You're not and haven't thought this thing through, my love. But what you are going to have in your favor is the court of public opinion, who are just mad at everybody who's rich. The court of public opinion right now is mad at everybody who is wealthy, anybody who's successful, girl. The public has just finally turned on its superheroes. The public is fatigued. The public can't afford eggs. The public is, down and out, girl. Morale is real low these days in this season. So the public is wanting to see the stars descend and plummet from the sky, girl. Okay? So celebrities now are not being given a lot of benefit of the doubt. The public is ready to eat them alive because the public needs an emotional punching bag. They need somebody to project their frustrations and their annoyances into, and celebrities are going to be the punching bag. So you will have the court of public opinion on your side, especially in this era where, for whatever reason, there's a big chunk of the population who is free Tory and actually believe that Jay-Z and ROC Nation has something to do with putting this criminal where he actually fucking belongs. So now this coming out against ROC Nation just plays into that fake ass narrative. And because none of those dimwits actually have an intellect, because none of those dimwits actually have any type of critical thinking capabilities, because none of those incels and dummies actually use their fucking brain and just commentate and come to conclusions based upon emotions and feelings and personal biases, of course they don't give a fuck about the truth. They're not going to deal with Desiree's defense. They're not going to deal with her expert forensic specialist. They're not going to deal with the incident reports from the police themselves. They're not even going to read the complaint itself from Demoree and realize that, damn, bitch, actually, if you read her goddamn complaint, she went up against ROC Nation and won because all these people she claiming, this big institution, this big powerhouse that got the whole damn industry in a chokehold, that can control people's freedoms and liberties, etc., actually don't have no fucking power. They couldn't even keep a regular, basic, average at best nigga like JAVON Hadley locked the fuck up. Even with audio and video evidence. My God, today. My God, today. Why y'all let me turn up like this, girl? I said I wasn't going to turn up. I told y'all to pray for me. Ain't not one person prayed, girl. I can feel that not one prayer went up for me. Because I'm too lit right now for anybody to have prayed for me in the shot. I told y'all when I got up here 47 minutes ago, an hour and 7 minutes, I told you, I said, pray for me. I can feel that not near person launch a single prayer up to the throne room to support me in this commentary, because I am lit right now. I am not going to let these people play in my face anymore. I do not have the heart. I do not have the falsehood in me to go with public opinion, even when I can see that this is total and utter bullshit. There are inconsistencies and flat out lies being told, and people literally talking out of both sides of their necks. Now, Demoree, you have 6-7 days to respond to your mammy and her calling your ass to the carpet, her completely debunking your conspiratorial foolishness, her exposing these fake ass exhibits you put in your complaint of recording devices, her putting in incident reports and direct police statements, her calling out how the state attorney's 11-page memo actually also vindicates her. Because they didn't press charges, not because evidence was falsified, but because you claimed it was illegally obtained and you would not fucking corroborate. In terms of their comments about her having you illegally, that was a misunderstanding on their end. They don't have an education in the Marchman Act or the Baker's Act. So it seems like the district attorney or the state attorney's office really just took your word for everything. Okay? So your mother had to put her lawyers on that, and her lawyers had to educate the state attorney's office on some of the way they misspoke and mischaracterized the events, the way that your mother has had to straighten that out for you as you attempt to sue her for, 14 different counts of coercion, imprisonment, etc., blah, 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 blah. Let me tell you something, Miss Lady. If your ass don't want to be 5150'd, if you don't want police called, if you don't want any of those things, keep your fucking family out of your business. Argue with your nigga in private rather than upstairs and right down the hallway from your grandparents' room, where they have to get up out of their motherfucking bed, hop on their goddamn electric scooter and walker, and come and be a human shield for two raggedy toxic motherfuckers who should be separated by 180 degrees at this motherfucking point, because somebody ass is gonna end up fucking dead. You don't want a bitch in your business? Keep a bitch out of your business and argue and fight with your nigga in the privacies of your own crevices, of your own personal spaces and cubby holes. Your grandmother is screaming for her life, standing in between you and your nigga, allegedly. This is my house. This is my house. This is my house. This is my house. Girl, I'm going to be honest. I'm a black man. I'm used to seeing the mammification amongst my own people. Seeing what mammification and peak Mishaing and seeing what male identified looks like in non-black folk is even wilder. and more extreme, baby. Because let me tell you, in all things that Brenda might have took a kicking and a motherfucking licking, baby. But what we never hear from Brenda is her suing her goddamn mother for trying to save her ass. What we never hear, girl, from LaQuisha, who's stuck in a Ike and Tina relationship, girl, is her suing her mother and dragging her entire family, girl, through the goddamn legal system in this way. Girl, what male identification looks like in non-black communities is insane. And I wonder if Desiree Perez is sitting somewhere right now being like, you know what? Was it better to just have left her for dead? If she knew then what she know now, that everything she was going to do as a mother, as a protector, as a nurturer, if this family knew that everything that they ever would try to do would come back to haunt them, would be weaponized against them, and that they would be railroaded and at the relentless rage, on the end of the relentless rage of their granddaughter, of their daughter, for a nigga who on any day is going to get up and leave, just like he was trying to leave her ass in those text messages she was in with her mother. And now she out here having to clean up his reputation at her mother and her grandparents' expense. Let's get into the lawsuit. The Stockholm is off the Richter scale. Off the motherfucking Richter scale. And I just want to know once again, is it deep fake AI, all alien technology, or real evidence that was illegally obtained from the fake recording devices you claim that your mother laced the room up and down with? Which one is it, Demoree? I'm going to be the only one asking the real questions. I'm going to be the only one making the objective. Because, bitch, I'm not scared. You brought this to the court of public opinion and to the court of law. So you make it make sense. It ain't our job to make your shit make sense. You make it make sense. Which one is it? Deep, fake, AI, all artificial intelligence generated audios, footage, etc. But in your filings and to the state attorney's office, you claim all this was real evidence, except it was illegally captured on secret recording devices. Yeah. Lawsuit. Or complaint, I should say. Shout out to the street committee who sent me this. Thank you, Chef. Let's get into it. This is the complaint that Desiree and the grandparents and all these folk filed against JAVON Hadley, who you guys can see here, defendant. You see here who are the plaintiffs? Desiree Perez, Olga Zayas, who's the grandmother, Melodies Garcia Gonzalez, and Dennis Milagros Gonzalez, whatever the hell that last name is, versus JAVON Hadley. When was this filed? I don't even know when this was filed, but let's just get into it. These are all the plaintiffs, honey. And this is what you're going to have to put up with in this lawsuit as well. You know that your mother is going to bring in all the people that's witnessed this, your grandparents, these police officers, all these folk are going to be testifying under oath and saying in this litigation, what they said then, what they witnessed then. I hope you don't think that this is just between you and your mother, because you listed everybody in that complaint as a defendant, but your grandparents, your relatives, and some of these officers, baby, who are going to be taking the stand under oath to say now what they said then. Plaintiffs are living every family's nightmare. This is the nature of the action. Their loved one, Demoree Hadley, is trapped in an appalling and dangerously abusive relationship, and her torturer and oppressor, the defendant, who is a ticking time bomb ready to explode, owns and controls her. Plaintiffs live in terror of the explosion that the defendant may unalive her one day. And like I told you guys, we are seeing a lot of DV situations more than ever, girl. Every day, the blogs are reporting some baby mama who done ran over her baby daddy, some baby daddy and husband who done gunned down the wife and mother of his children with 12 rounds. We're seeing heinous crimes, so I can definitely understand the duress. I've witnessed domestic violence in my own family. I've witnessed DV happen to my aunts. I've witnessed DV happen to my mother. I understand the helplessness, the desperation, and the passion. And anything that can be legally exhausted should be legally exhausted. I'm glad that I read your mother's defense and let her actually line that shit up for us. Because she didn't do anything illegal. And if doctors wanted to send you here and send you there, well, it's a good thing that you're suing them so you can take that matter up with them. She ain't got nothing to do with that. If the police officers that weren't employed to respond to this, that, and the third did and handle you A, B, C, D, E, F, and G, that ain't got nothing to do with her. You better list their asses as goddamn defendants. All she did was employ the systems that was afforded to her, and clearly there was no conspiracy because you won. She didn't. The DA let your husband go, didn't press charges. The doctor allowed your toxicology report to come back negative any drugs. Something that is in complete contradiction to them being in them conspiring against you. Because if your mother was trying to get you institutionalized and she had a psychiatric doctor, a psychiatrist on payroll who was doing her bidding, they would have falsified those results so they could do to you what they willed. That didn't happen, which is why you were able to go home and go free. Plaintiff lives in terror of the explosion that the defendant may unalive her one day. But by this lawsuit, plaintiffs are shouting from the rooftops for the world to hear that they love Demoree Hadley, and her family will fight every fiber of their being to protect her. This lawsuit is motivated by the family's love for Demoree, the trauma they had endured from seeing her brutally abused and controlled by defendant, and defendant's harm to plaintiffs and their entire family. Hey, mistress. Hey, boo. As set forth in detail below, JAVON Hadley is an abuser whose relentless and sadistic pattern of cruelty and abuse has devastated the lives of plaintiffs and their entire family. Hadley has been in a relationship with Desiree's beloved daughter, Demoree, for many years, and ultimately they married in 2024. Throughout his relationship with Demoree and while living in Desiree's home in Miami, the family home with Desiree's father and other family members, quote, the family, Hadley's violence, manipulation, indoctrination, degradation, isolation, subjugation, economic abuse, and gaslighting of Demoree has known no bounds. As we can hear him in the audio, berating her over a business meeting, screaming at her, etc., seemingly touching her to some degree that warranted the other relatives to come into the room and get in between that. He has subjected her to relentless and merciless physical, mental, sexual, and financial abuse, psychological torture, exploitation, and unspeakable conduct that has shattered the lives, peace, and security of Demoree's family and threatens their entire world, leaving them in enduring and constant terror and pain, fearful for her life and mental well-being as well as their own. Although Desiree lives in New Jersey, she maintains the family home in Miami for her father, Mr. Julio Gonzalez, who suffers from severe dementia. Olga Zayas, who is Julio's significant other for more than 30 years. Okay, this would be her step-grandmother. And for the entire family's benefit and enjoyment, Desiree does this and much, much more for the family because she is utterly devoted to them. They are everything to her. Melodies Garcia Gonzalez Millie is Julio's cousin and is regularly present in the family home as she is Julio's caregiver. Denise Milagros Gonzalez is Desiree's cousin and also resided in the family home. So you have two cousins, both grandparents. JAVON Hadley took a wrecking ball to this once safe haven and turned it into a house of horrors indeed. Hadley's conduct while living in the family home not only terrorized Demoree, but also Desiree, Olga, Denise, and many other family members who love Demoree, subjecting them to paralyzing fear for their own safety, security, and privacy, and that of Demoree's. Over a period of years, Desiree, Olga, Millie, Denise, and the rest of the Demoree Hadley's family have themselves suffered immensely, forced to bear witness to the horrific, terrifying, and escalating pattern of abuse and coercive control Hadley has wielded over Demoree. They recognize and ruminate over the devastating impact this torture has had on Demoree's mental health and formal love of life, and it is so crushing for them. From the very beginning of their relationship, Hadley displayed a calculated intent to dominate, control, degrade, and monetize Demoree at the expense of her family. Demoree's family has watched in agony as Hadley has isolated Demoree from friends and family and eroded all of her support systems to ensure total control over her life. Hadley chose his victim as well as Demoree has cognitive and emotional vulnerabilities which have enabled him to effectively control and abuse her. Hadley's exploitation of Demoree's vulnerabilities and insecurities has had a devastating impact on Demoree as witnessed by her family. Over time, Hadley has become so domineering and abusive that Demoree is not empowered to act of her own volition and is seemingly convinced of her dependency on him, which has tragically led her to stay in a relationship and protect him from any accountability for his abusive conduct, which is further corroborated, you guys, by the incident report by the police officer who said that despite her acknowledging that she was being abused, she did not want any legal consequence to come to him, and it's further corroborated even by the quotations from the memo by the state attorney's office, who also said that she would not cooperate with the investigation, which led to the dissolving of the pending charges against JAVON. She is brainwashed and thus unable to see the truth. Indeed, she is so under his control, she cannot even see her own abuse. Even when confronted with incontrovertible evidence to obtain and maintain control over Demoree, Hadley has used techniques identified by experts as insidious forms of abuse referred to as coercive control. Experts have determined that when these tools are used over a long period of time, they erode and indeed destroy an individual's psychological well-being, essentially brainwashing or enslaving their victims. These tools include, I'm okay, Chef, I'm gonna check it, boo. You guys, please make sure to run the likes up. A, indoctrination. Indoctrination occurs where an abuser instills a new belief system in an individual through manipulation and coercion and eliminates individual autonomy and independent decision-making. Chef, could you tell me what the new link is? And do I need to pull it up now? No, boo. I don't believe that they have any children, Sunrise. Physical abuse. Physical abuse, i.e. the infliction of harm on someone, leads not only to physical injury, but also psychological injury in that it causes the individual who sustained the abuse to question what it means about them that someone has inflicted such pain, injury, and suffering upon them. Surveillance. Surveillance causes an individual to believe that the abuser is omnipresent and no other And no matter where she goes or what she does, he will have his eyes on her. Surveillance can include tracking an individual's cell phone, ensuring her location services are enabled, checking her email, checking her text messages, her social media, and physically showing up unexpectedly at places where she is. Isolation. Isolation allows an abuser to remove an individual's social support system that would buffer the effects of psychological distress. Without social support, it is increasingly difficult to extricate oneself from the abusive relationship or situation. Subjugation. Subjugation is a method whereby an individual is treated as a servant and told to do what the abuser says without regard to the individual's own thoughts, wishes, and desires. It is the original complaint. JAVON's motion to dismiss. Desiree reply to opposition. And lastly, JAVON was, hold on, it's the original complaint. JAVON's motion to dismiss. Oh, JAVON also had sent. Oh, wait. Are you saying that JAVON did a motion to dismiss in the lawsuit filed against him by Desiree and the family? And then it's JAVON's response. Okay, cool. Okay, so we got that thing lined up, period. Emotional abuse and degradation. Emotional abuse functions to belittle an individual's sense of self and sense of self-worth, leaving them more susceptible to the abuser's control and believing that the abuse is their fault. Sleep deprivation. Sleep deprivation is used to hinder an individual's ability to make rational decisions. Economic abuse. Economic abuse occurs when the abuser is in control of all of the financial decisions. Gaslighting. Gaslighting is an active practice of grossly misleading another individual, especially for one's own advantage. When repeatedly told that an individual's perception of reality is mistaken, that individual may start to feel destabilized. Animal abuse. Attempted and threatened violence toward an individual's animal. As set forth in more detail below, Hadley has terrorized Demoree by weaponizing every facet of coercive control, including but not limited to indoctrination, isolation, degradation, subjugation, economic abuse, animal abuse, snatching away her dog Nina as punishment as if she has committed any perceived slights, and threatening to never return her. Surveillance. Digitally stalking Demoree and her entire family through the family's home security systems, demanding that DH send him a picture, video, or security camera footage of where she is at any given movement to exert total control of her movements and to ensure her family has no chance to rescue her. So could this be why she had her mother, according to Desiree, install home surveillance? Could that be why, you guys? Desiree was probably thinking, oh, this is going to be for her safety. Great. You know, if anything happens, etc. But then kaboom. It actually was him getting Demoree to get the mother to fund getting a surveillance system put intact so that he could monitor Demoree, which is all captured here. Now, you guys know it's a lot of remote technology, so this footage here of him allegedly assaulting her, and I have to, say allegedly even for shit like this because, I have a public platform, etc. But was he watching her on his phone? Was he watching her from his tablet, from his computer? Did Demoree want this technology installed because JAVON demanded it to be installed so that he could further control her? That is nuts. Physical abuse, assault, choking, and raping her with no fear of consequence. Sadly, when the family learned the degree of Hadley's abuse and his calculated tactics, their united attempts to try to save Demoree failed. In response to plaintiffs' efforts to rescue Demoree from Hadley's abuse, Hadley has resorted to retaliation by using Demoree to threaten to sue Desiree. Now, mind you guys, I think this lawsuit against him was last year. They were making claims that he was pushing Desiree to sue them last year, and now that has come to fruition a year later. Wow. This lawsuit was filed in 2024 from the family against JAVON, and they were alleging then that he was trying to get Demoree to sue the family. And now that has happened. Hadley has resulted to retaliation by using Demoree to threaten to sue Desiree and others for their attempts to help Demoree and to seek justice. Hadley's malicious intentions were made disturbingly clear and were articulated openly in chilling audio, recorded phone calls from jail where Hadley was held for abusing Demoree. In these calls, Hadley boasted of his pursuit of a financial payout from the family, declaring, quote, "I got to get the payday and payday's gonna be all worth it," callously celebrating the potential rewards he planned to reap from Desiree's and her family's torment and grief. My God. However, neither Desiree nor anyone in her family will be deterred by Hadley's false claims and manipulative, ruthless threats, and now seek to reclaim their dignity and some of their losses by asserting claims under the Federal Computer Fraud and Abuse Act, the Federal Stored Communications Actions, the Florida Security of Communications. Wow, you guys. Some of these are the same. Some of these are the same counts that Demoree is suing Desiree and ROC Nation and etc. on as well. Wow. Demoree is almost like mirroring her mother, even in retaliation. Compensatory and punitive damages for Hadley's unauthorized surveillance, intentional infliction of emotional distress, invasion of privacy, and the nuisance he maliciously inflicted upon this family. There's the parties, there's jurisdictions, here's the venue, factual allegations. Desiree installed security systems at her Miami-Dade home at Demoree's insistence. Desiree owned 2 homes in Miami-Dade County, the family home and Manita's home, collectively the residences, for the purpose of providing a safe, secure, and comfortable environment for her loved ones. The family home has long served as the place at which Julio and Olga reside. The grandparents, Demoree lived at the family home with her grandparents between 2018 and 2023. Similarly, Hadley spent significant time at the family home and indeed officially moved into the family home in 2022. Given Julio's ongoing struggle with dementia, a condition requiring constant care, the family was determined to ensure he received the proper attention and support he needed. To that end, in June 2021, at Demoree's request, Desiree hired a professional security consultant to install a high-end surveillance system in the common areas of the family home. In early 2022, after unidentified men approached the property with flashlights and potential weapons, Desiree and Demoree discussed adding additional security cameras to the pre-existing surveillance system. Demoree specifically requested the addition of cameras with audio and color capabilities, later emphasizing the need for cameras in every room to monitor the administration of medicine to Julio by caregivers when family members were absent. The additional cameras, both interior and exterior, were placed in common areas. The cameras recorded both video and audio, used state-of-the-art technology for high-quality monitoring, were accessible via an app, which provided remote access, and were secured by a password and encrypted data. Desiree also installed the same video surveillance system at her mother, Manita's home. As agreed, Desiree granted Demoree access to the security system and thus the camera solely to monitor Julio and Manita to ensure their safety and security. At no point was Demoree authorized to use or share passwords, transmit or share video or audio footage, nor was she authorized to grant access to anyone else. Now, what's interesting is that Demoree claims in her complaint that, oh, my mother admits to illegally recording me. But what she doesn't add is Desiree saying, no, first of all, you were living in my properties, where we both collaborated on installing cameras because your grandparents have dementia and have caregivers, and we want to ensure their safety and monitor things, make sure they're not falling, you know, and that they can be visually accessed at any given time, etc. And because of other incidences on the property with strange people pulling up and all of this, you asked me to install additional surveillance for personal safety, etc. And you were given access to these things, obviously, because you're a loved one. This is a family home, and you live there as well. But what you did not have permission to do is to provide any passwords, etc., and access and capabilities to JAVON. It seems that Demoree left all of that out. My God. Oh, absolutely, Elijah. It sounds like Desiree was looking out for her parents because dude is unpredictable. Yeah, and even outside of dude, she was looking out for her parents because they were sick. You know, her dad has dementia. So, you know, I also cared for my grandfather until he passed away. He had dementia as well. And, you know, they're prone to falling, etc. And then if you have caregivers, etc., you know, you just want to have the luxury of knowing that, you know, that that your loved ones are being fed, you know, accordingly, that they're being bathed and cared for, and that they're comfortable and being reasonably tended to. So initially, that's what the cameras were really for. And then upon some intrusive things happening on the property by outsiders, they decided to add additional cameras. But Demoree left all of that out in her claims that her mother had, you know, all these illegal cameras, etc. And the audacity, right? Like, girl, you don't want living on your mama's shit, your mother shit. I'm initially thinking that the damn gym footage that we saw was at Demoree's personal home with her man. No, that's footage of the family's home that Desiree owns, and was kind enough that not only let her daughter cohabitate in, but even eventually allowed her boyfriend to move into as well. My God, today. And this is the thanks that I get for putting you on. Wow. Hadley was full aware of these surveillance systems' presence, the locations of the cameras, and their ability to record both video and audio. Further, he knew that Desiree had not authorized him to access the security systems at any time. Undeterred, Hadley demanded that Demoree secretly provide him access to the systems without consent from Desiree or other family members. Further, Hadley regularly accessed Demoree's phone using her passcode, which provided him with an additional method to access the security system cameras, which I believe all of this, because the way, baby, those text messages was centered between Demoree to her mother, her obsession with her man, her attachment to her man, all of the police incident reports of her not ever wanting him to be held accountable for going upside her head and beating up on her and shit. She definitely is, you know, a woman who is irrationally submissive to JAVON, even to the point that it's absolute, you can call it obedience hell. And she definitely is given that she interprets control as love. Like, the more he wants to control her, she interprets it as love. She interprets it as, oh, he's attached to me. The more access he wants to her phone, to her life, the more all of that, her trauma has her, and her victimization has her interpreting it as, oh God, he loves me, girl. Yes, I love being controlled. I love feeling in prison. I love this man being obsessed with me. My God, today. Unbeknownst to Desiree or her family, Hadley used her security systems to terrorize and monitor Demoree, Desiree, and other family members, including but not limited to eavesdropping on private conversations, tracking their whereabouts, and observing Desiree during her visits to her father. Despite the fact that Desiree did not live at either of the residences, Hadley was fixated on monitoring her movements during her visits to her parents and her shit. Disturbingly, Hadley consistently tried to drive a wedge between Demoree and her family, telling her that they were untrustworthy and needed to be watched. Hadley's paranoia and false narrative to Demoree was often coupled with threats to break the close family bond that Demoree had with her family. For example, on July 5th of 2021, Hadley texted Demoree referencing Desiree, who was visiting the family home, quote, "You better handle her." And quote, "If she is here, I need her to be watched the whole time." Other text messages to Demoree revealed that he was constantly telling her that Desiree and the rest of her family lied, were not to be trusted, and caused them bad luck. On July the 5th of 2021, he also texted, quote, "And when they are around that house, anybody from that side, you need to have eyes on them, period. Because if I catch them and I'm telling you I'ma go to jail, starting with the men, I'ma shake shit up soon." These text messages constitute an obvious threat by Hadley to harm Julio, Demoree's grandfather, who was the only male residing in the home, 88 years old and suffering from dementia. Hadley even acknowledged that he was willing to go to jail for assault in order to exert his dominance and control over the family. Hey, Rashonda. And here you guys see here are those text messages to the right, period. Because if I catch them, I'm telling you, I'm gonna go to jail. I'll call him tomorrow because it's inappropriate to text him at this hour. I'll let you know tomorrow morning. Starting with the men. Tired of this. I work too hard and I'm too great to be getting railroaded by my partner's own family. I'm gonna shake shit up soon. Wow. Utilizing threats of physical violence, intimidation, and abandonment to force her into compliance, Hadley coerced Demoree into providing the password to the app for the surveillance cameras, thereby gaining unauthorized access to the camera's audio and visual feeds. For example, on April 10th of 2022, at Desiree's request, Demoree went to her grandmother, Manita's home, to check on her, as Desiree believed Manita was suffering from a health crisis. Hadley sent Demoree a series of threatening texts demanding access to the security system at Manita's house to confirm that Demoree was in fact at that location. Later that night, Hadley texted Demoree again demanding proof that Desiree had really asked Demoree to check on Manita. Hadley further demanded access to the security system at Manita's house to check the footage himself, insisting Demoree provide him with the login information. In response to Hadley's outrageous and deranged demands, Demoree texted him the username and password to access the Manita's security system. Unable to access the cameras, Hadley became enraged. He texted Demoree, quote, "The camera's password isn't working," following by chilling ultimatums, quote, "I'm going to need some proof or I'll need my boots." Wow. And quote, "If I don't have that, your ass is in trouble." Wow. Hadley's demands for the surveillance system, login information, and video proof of her location were relentless. Hadley threatened, quote, "If I don't have the screenshot by an hour, I'm going home," followed by, quote, "And that's your ass." These statements, amongst others, demonstrate a blatant act of intimidation and coercion designed to instill fear and manipulate Demoree into compliance. His threats and intimidation went on for hours. Now you can't answer. Damn, I guess not. What's the app and password to the cameras? There's the user information there. Screenshot your mom telling you when to slide to your grandma's, or a call, log, time, the camera's password not working. I can have my Abila send me a screenshot of me pulling up to her house on the cameras. Want that? I can ask her for that tomorrow so you can see I went to my Abula's house. Hold on, let me log out and see. Nigga, they both lie. Wow. You don't believe I went to my Abula's house at the timestamp from our cameras? Yeah, tell her to screenshot you there. Okay, I will ask her tomorrow to send. Not sure why you think I lie about going to my Abula's house and coming back here, but okay. Yeah, and tell me when you have camera apps so I can log in. If I don't have that, your ass is in trouble. I'm going to need some proof, or I'm going to need my boots. I went to my Abula's and came here. I'm resetting password now. That's cool. I'm going to just need the screenshot. Okay. I don't want to hear cameras broke neither. Okay. Don't delete the message. Show me before you text her. Home, that's your ass. Screenshots coming and leaving from here and there. Please and thank you. 1 hour. What do I say is the reason? My mom asking. I don't give a fuck. I need what I need. Jesus. Baby. Oh, we've been gathering, Pam. We've been gathering, baby. Okay? This whole life was inspired by you. And Demoree, allegedly, if that's her, as you said, if that's her, it's the unmitigated audacity of it all, baby. Oh, we gathered, baby. You're going to have to rewind it back, Miss Pam. We gathered, child, okay? We were calling in the United States Army and the military, baby, the helicopter choppers and all, honey, the Marines, the reserve, honey. We up in here gathering, child, okay? You got me completely triggered up with that lady in your comment section trying to get slick, trying to get weird, the audacity to tell you to do your research when she's the one who brought all this mess to the court of public opinion, and yet we need to do our research, okay? Trying to get you in her back pocket because you had the audacity to have integrity to literally do what you should be doing, not only as a content creator and commentator, but also as a attorney yourself, which is literally just focus on the case and respond and read and give your expert opinion and perspective on all of the litigations from Demoree's side to Desiree's side. Is very clear based upon the way that she was speaking in your comment section that she's not interested in anybody who's not in her situation personally, who doesn't know her or her mother personally, actually acting like just that. Like you said in your live stream tonight, baby, I don't know you or your mother. Okay? I'm just here, girl, to deal with what you and your mother have brought us into. Y'all brought us into the group chat, sugar. Okay? And we're going to read your response and her response and your response and her response again. Okay? It's not personal. It's not, to be taken as an insult. It's literally just a job. It's literally just, being as fair as possible, because boo, I'm not gonna mess around and get sued by having your back. Baby, I'm not gonna be up here dragging your damn mama, baby, and then your mama wanna be using ROC Nation money, baby, to tie me up in the courts like they got sloppy radio over there tied up in a cyber stalking, cyber harassment. No, ma'am. Okay, Greer? I'm gonna read your mama's defense. I'm going to read your complaint, baby, and neither one of y'all going to be tying me up with ROC Nation money, not even a little bit, child. So you can move around, get comfortable, baby, do what you got to do. But we're going to stay up out of them ROC Nation litigations, okay? Y'all make sure to subscribe to my boo, baby. We've been eating up and down, Pam. We've been eating up and down. This whole thing got me in such a bad chokehold. We gotta talk, Pam. I hate that I missed your call. We got to talk. We gotta talk tomorrow in the morning or something, because I need to pour this out onto somebody, because I didn't know, is it just me? I was getting on this lady's butt because I'm like, how are you representing to the court of public opinion this evidence, this footage that's going viral right now of this home surveillance of your husband punching you in the face, this audio compilation of him calling you a bitch, your grandparents are screaming to the top of their lungs, all this hoopla going on. And in your complaint in the courts, you're saying, no, this is real evidence. It's just illegally obtained. But in the court of public opinion and in the comment sections of YouTube, she want to be saying, oh, no, this is all alien technology. This is all fake news. You have no idea at the futuristic technology that's been used to falsify. But wait, you're only really stating that it's false to us. But in your filings, you're saying and acknowledging, no, these are real recordings. My mother just illegally obtained them by breaking into my iCloud or lacing the room in our family's home up with secret surveillance technologies and recordings. Even had the nerve, Pam, to actually direct us in her complaint to the state attorney's office, who then turned around also in their 11-page memorandum and said, boo, we dropped the charges against your husband, not because it was insufficient evidence, but for one, you did not cooperate with the investigation, and for two, you claimed and raised issues to us about the way that evidence was obtained. Not that it was fake, not that it was a forgery, not that it was edited, not that it was deep fake AI, but that it was illegally obtained. That is a completely separate statement from this is all fake, this is all Photoshop, this is all edited, this is all artificial intelligence. To no, I was secretly recorded. No, I was illegally recorded. So which one is it? Is it fake or were you illegally recorded? You can't have both of those statements. You're literally in immense, explicit contradiction. And you don't have the audacity to say this in your actual filing, which is good because, see, you know how it really gets in court. But out here, you're playing in the court of public opinion's face by trying to control the narrative. But you're alley-ooping yourself and don't even know it in your own complaint. And then your mother's defense lines you up even more. She got the incident reports. She got other excerpts that you conveniently left out from the state attorney's memorandum. Everything from this Tory Lanez trial being revisited and retried in the court of public opinion, all this new evidence that's old evidence being repackaged as new evidence, all this stuff, I feel so gaslit by Pam. I feel so gaslit. I feel like people are playing on my head top. They're playing on my intellect. It's so crazy how people literally think that the public is dumb. They actually really depend on, bank on us not being critical, not being observant, not being intellectuals. They literally bank on us being surface and emotional, not having any continuity, they literally are like banking on that. And then people like you and I end up the bad guy because those are the qualities that separate us from the majority, because we can't act like we don't see it. We have too much integrity to turn a blind eye. Like, wait a minute, boo. This, you said west over here, but now you saying east over there. I can't act like you ain't do that. I can't unsee that. I can't unsee you double dipping and playing both sides, and you talking on both sides of your neck. And then because you're an Aquarius, Pam, I'm a Scorpio, we both gonna die on that hill. Like, you know what, baby, you just gonna have to choose, baby. I'm just gonna have to be hated. I'm just gonna have to take one for the team and just be that person in the crowd because I refuse to act deaf, dumb, and stupid. Okay? So this whole thing is crazy to me. The fact that she submitted a screenshot of an alleged audio recording device that was actually the solar panel of a $7 Amazon toy that they broke apart and decided to narrate to the courts as, see here, didn't prove that the device could record, had no data from the device they presented in screenshot, no nothing. Only for the mother to present a whole forensic analyst to break down this object that was presented as an audio recording, a covert audio recording device. That wasn't a covert audio recording device. An expert with 20 years experience took him all of 10 minutes to go onto YouTube to find what manufacturer utilizes this particular solar panel, and found YouTube videos of people dismantling the object, and that same solar panel is in all of those toys. It's not a recording device. It's literally the universal preferred defaulted solar panel that's put in every last single one of those $7 toys. Girl, I can't deal with these people. I can't deal with these people. I can't deal with these people. You need to do your research, Pam, though. Thanks. You need to do your research, honey. Okay? You need to read Miss Law Esquire, or you would have known. Thanks. Girl, baby. Pam, you a bit more safe than me, baby. Because, baby, see, I probably would have been snatched off YouTube the way I would have. Woo, baby, the way I would have put a fever pitch. The way I would have put a fever. See, I've been working on my Christianity for 2025. I've been working on my next level of Christhood for 2025, baby. See, the devil is out here roaming, baby. Tested and trying me at the cross, child. Baby, it was a classy rebuttal, but it's wild to me that she's out here doing, allegedly, the very same things that she's accusing her mother of doing. She done spent the last 48 hours on Instagram and Twitter talking about how her mother and ROC Nation are trying to suppress everybody's channel and getting people's Facebook and Twitter snatched and ... But you around here scourging social media platforms and comment sections, berating and being sassy and being spicy with people who are just literally telling both sides and have no ulterior motive, which of course is going to be an issue for somebody who is wanting an allegiance. It's going to be an issue for someone who's wanting a biased approach. It's going to be an issue for someone who is looking for a unwarranted, undeserved loyalty. Like, baby, who are you? Do we know each other, sis? You know, have we sat in the waiting room of the OBGYN together and I just didn't know? I mean, do you want to refresh my memory of, you know, when we had a relationship of some sort? Because if I'm mistaken, baby, just, you know, let me know. Maybe I missed it, Sugar. Okay? I'm just doing my job, Miss Mamas. I can be here all night, y'all. Let me see what Pam said. Pam said, I didn't even see that video. You are showing me. Oh, hold on. Which video did you not see, Pam? Or which one? Of her getting hit, or you didn't? Have you heard the audio? Have you seen any of these things on the screen here? Have you seen either one of these? Because these are the evidences and stuff that's going viral. This is stuff that she out here trying to debunk, claiming that it's deep fake, while at the same time claiming to the courts that the one that you have on the screen. Okay. Oh, so this is audio. Check this out. This is a 4-minute compilation of her husband verbally and mentally abusing her for waking him up like an hour prior to an early business meeting, and then things escalating and her grandparents having to rush in because it sounds like he tries to grab her face to make her look at him, and the grandparents come storming in, you know, because they can hear all of the ruckus, da-da-da-da-da. It's a mess, but check this out, Pam.
Because I know I've been sick. I'm gonna ask you again. You think it's okay to wake up at 9 o'clock and call somebody at 9:30 for a fucking business call? You think that's okay? Look in my eyes and tell me that's okay.
Yes, 30 minutes prior, yeah.
You're gonna wake up at 9 o'clock and make a business call at 9:30.
Yes, I wouldn't do anything else. I would just literally go outside, bring me out, and make the call.
Okay, so you heard of this one. Okay, so you heard this. Yeah, they use the screenshot, and then they got the surveillance of him coming into the family's home allegedly, and punching her in her face, unfortunately, which I skip over, and then him shoving her into a room. I haven't read the lawsuit that Desiree filed against him, though. So that's the one that I'm reading right now. I'm going to have to rewind it back. Yep, I'm in the middle of reading that one right now. And speaking of that, let's get to that. This lawsuit is crazy. And so what is it called, Pam, when there's a bunch of plaintiffs? Because I thought that a class action lawsuit took like 11 plus people. But it's a bunch of plaintiffs on the complaint filed against JAVON. It's like 4 or 5 of them. It's both the grandparents, I think 2 of the cousins, and Desiree herself versus JAVON. What is that called? Is that not a class action lawsuit? Because I thought that class actions were 11 or more, or 24 or more, or etc. Or I don't know if this is just considered like a regular lawsuit. But yeah, it's like a few plaintiffs versus JAVON ass. It's the whole family basically against his ass. Okay, so the text messages show him apparently trying to. Okay, so let me see. If there's a class action, then you have to be identified as a class by the court. That sounds like multiple. Yeah, it's multiple plaintiffs. Okay, got it. Okay. The family's lawsuit against JAVON goes on to say, because Demoree's attempts to share the login information and to reset the password at Hadley's insistence were unsuccessful on this occasion. Demoree contacted Desiree after 11 p.m. on April 10th of 2022, still being harassed and threatened by Hadley to provide proof of her previous location. Demoree frantically texts Desiree asking her for the login information and then to obtain a screenshot with the timestamps of Demoree arriving in Manita's house earlier that day. When Desiree asked why Demoree would need this information, Demoree made up a story that she was concerned that someone had approached her vehicle for an extended period of time when she arrived at Manita's house. Desiree then sent Demoree a text message with the footage as requested, never dreaming that Demoree was so petrified of Hadley that she needed to obtain footage to prove to Hadley where she had been or face his wrath. And these are those text messages that were submitted. Can I get what you are thinking? Can you screenshot the time? Okay, so I think that this is Perez in blue and Demoree in gray. I can get it. Where are you thinking? Can you screenshot the time I arrived to Abula's house today, please? Why? What happened? I want to see what time I arrived outside the gate and how long it took for her to come up to my car. That's why I need timestamps, because she took an unusual amount of time and I only went to the living room. You are worrying me. Because she took an unusual amount of time and I only went to the living room and want to... I don't know what that says. It cuts off. You are worrying me. Oh, okay. It finishes here. Because she took an unusual amount of time and I only went to the living room and want to make sure no one is in rooms. Oh boy. Can you send to me, please, so I can see the time I arrived and the time she came up to my car, and also picture of when I left and the time to see if anyone was hiding around my car, please. I can't more. I have to ask her to give me passwords. I don't have access. Okay. She doesn't pick up. Wow. Text messages reveal that Hadley was threatening Demoree and trying to access the security system to Manita's house until almost 2 a.m. on April 11th of 2022. The next day, April 11th of 2022 at 7 a.m., Demoree returned to Manita's house to access the camera footage and the system, attempting to appease Hadley, who was still furious that he could not access the system. After she arrived, Demoree discovered Manita laying on the floor, clearly ill, and texted Desiree. Desiree immediately instructed Demoree to call the paramedics. Demoree did so, but then picked up Manita's phone while Manita was still laying on the floor, suffering from what they later learned was a stroke, to access the camera footage on Manita's phone to prove to Hadley her whereabouts. While all that was happening and all this man could care about And all Demoree could really focus on was proving she was where she was while her loved one was having a whole entire stroke. Absolutely insane. Shockingly, even though Manita was laying on the floor mid-stroke and the paramedics had not yet arrived, Demoree rushed out of the house in terror because Hadley demanded she go attend to their landscaping business, Peacock. Indeed, Desiree was anxiously calling Demoree for an update on Manita's situation, but Demoree did not pick up. Desperate to know what was happening to her mother, Desiree had to call their dog walker to go to her mother's residence, which she did. Ultimately, the paramedics arrived to find Manita on the floor mid-stroke. Desiree was devastated about the situation as she knew that Demoree was close to her grandmother and could not comprehend why Demoree abandoned her grandmother in peril. Little did Desiree know that this occurred because Hadley was threatening Demoree. And as you guys can see here to the right, here's the communications. Okay, let me know about supplies and work. We need all info today. Okay, going now to get your screenshots. Okay, if anything, let me know soon so I can figure out what I'm doing today. I'm on her phone trying to access the cameras. I have no reason to lie to you like I thought. Nothing. Everything is rocket science now. Exactly what I said last night. The camera not working. I'm going to get it now. They're calling in an ambulance. My Abula is sick. I swear to God. I'm going to call now. I have no reason to lie. You saw my GPS, JAVON. She's having a stroke. Yeah, okay, sure. I swear, JAVON, my God, I'm not lying. Please, I'm on her phone trying to get info. I'll send once I have. I have no reason to lie. You have my Geico. You have everything. You're on the app. Let me know Peacock info when you get update. Don't worry about it. I know you can't get proof. It's cool. Just changes. New year, new adjustments. JAVON, my God, I called Diego. Now he said he never knew cameras worked. My Abula is unresponsive. I'm not lying. Please, what do you need from me? Screenshots. I sent you my mom's screenshots, my camera login, my Geico. If not, no need to keep up the convo. Diego is saying he thinks my Abula lied about cameras to scare everyone. JAVON, I will get everything. Please just let me know about Peacock and if I need to handle that. By 2, I need an update on Peacock. Me and you are business partners. Personal ish don't matter to me right now. Wow. Later in July of 2023, Desiree for the first time learned that Hadley was accessing the surveillance system at the residences without her permission and cut off access to protect her family's privacy. Indeed, Desiree changed the password to the mobile application controlling the surveillance system, effectively cutting off Hadley and DH's access. In early August, Hadley is communicating with DH about losing access to the video feed. Here's a screenshot. They took us off. Damn, we can't see them when they come in the room. None now. Wow. Physical and sexual abuse. Here we go, y'all. Here we go, y'all. This is bewildering, girl. And you know what? I know that Desiree responded to, kind of how she got access, I guess, to these text messages because she's claiming that Demoree is using an old phone that she got her that was linked to the family's computer. And that's, I guess, how all these text messages were accessed through her iCloud, etc. Jail. Defendant Hadley's threats of physical abuse were not empty threats. He repeatedly beat Demoree and demonstrated that there were consequences to her non-compliance with his demands. Hadley's violent behavior occurred within the home where Julio and Olga and other relatives were living, creating an atmosphere of fear and instability that inflicted emotional and psychological harm, disrupted the family's sense of safety, and left lasting trauma in a household that had once been a place of refuge. In July of 2022, Denise, then residing at the family home, was horrified when Demoree confided in her about an incident of sexual violence. According to Demoree, Hadley had kept her awake the night before by giving her a caffeinated drink and, despite her saying no, raped her. Demoree told Denise that being forced to have sex was a way for Hadley to fix arguments. Hearing that Hadley assaulted Demoree in what was supposed to be a safe home left Denise traumatized. Demoree's family was aware that Hadley owned a firearm. Indeed, Demoree reported to Denise on multiple occasions that Hadley carried a GUN everywhere. The possession and carrying of a firearm only increased the perpetual fear within which Demoree was living, in addition to placing everyone else in the family home in fear because of Hadley's angry outbursts and abuse and GUN possession. Demoree continuously showed scraps, bruises, cuts, indicating physical abuse, as you guys can see here. Wow, actual pictures. You can see the redness on her face. And Demoree has denied all these things, claiming that her friend said that that's a lie, when, I mean, hello, it's your friend. But these bruises didn't come anywhere. Oh my God, you can actually see somebody's fingerprints in her face. Can you guys see here? These are fingerprints. Scratches. Like her face being grabbed real hard, or either, I don't know, somebody's knuckles maybe. You can see the scratches all here. And we have surveillance of him punching her dead in her face. So exactly, Rashonda. Exactly. On August 11th of 2023, Millie became so concerned for Demoree's safety that she contacted Desiree, who was in New York, to report that Millie feared Hadley would hurt Demoree. Millie advised Desiree that even Julio, despite having dementia, was extremely anxious and agitated at the precarious situation in the family home and feared Hadley. Desiree immediately checked the security cameras within the common areas of the home and observed Hadley yelling at DH. At one point, Desiree saw her daughter retreat into a corner of the house's outdoor space right next to one of the security cameras and stand meekly with her hands held behind her back. Just 1 month later, on September 11th of 2023, Olga and Millie were in the family home when they heard raised voices coming from the bedroom shared by Demoree and Hadley, and then heard a slapping noise. Olga and Millie then heard Demoree crying and yelling, quote, "Don't hit me, don't hurt me," but terrified for Demoree's safety, entered the bedroom, where they observed Demoree cowering in the corner of the room, pinned by Hadley against the wall. They also observed Hadley had his arms raised above his head, poised to strike Demoree. Olga and Millie clearly observed that to the left side of Demoree's face was red, as if Demoree had been struck in the face by Hadley before Olga entered the room. Then, to protect Demoree from further assault, Olga inserted herself between Hadley and Demoree, shielding Demoree with her body. Olga was terrified but determined to protect her granddaughter. Hadley continued to scream, yell, and gesticulate wildly, terrifying Olga and Millie. Olga became so afraid of what Hadley would do that she ran out of the room, grabbed the machete, and re-entered the room, determined to protect Demoree and herself. Olga remained fearful, frightened, and shocked by the attack and by Hadley's angry, violent behavior. Millie was likewise deathly afraid for the safety of both Demoree and Olga, so much that she left the house to summon the police, as she was afraid Hadley was going to unalive them all. So remember in the text messages that Desiree had presented in her motion to dismiss, she was saying in the text message to Demoree, like, you know, I'm afraid for your safety. I'm afraid for Olga because, you know, she's, you know, putting her body on the line. This is dangerous for her as well. This volatile, toxic relationship is not only directly dangerous to you, it's endangering even the people you're in community with, who have to engage this volatileness when it's happening amidst them. And, you know, these people are elderly. These are older folk. And, you know, I mean, by you not willing to separate from this man, move on with your life, get you the psychological help you need to deal with what your obsession and your sickness is that's attaching you to this man, you know, it's coming at high risk. And let me tell you something, Perez is better than me, because I would have had to kick Desiree ass the fuck out. Like, what you're not gonna do, boo, you know, like your own personal poison is your choice. But what you're not gonna do is endanger other innocent people over your mess, you know. And it would have been painful to, you know, for me to have separated, you know, my adult child from a situation that I created for their enjoyment, such as a family home, etc. But, you know, it's not fair to other people that we love cohabitating in that space that have to be victimized and inadvertently suctioned into that madness, you know, all because your self-esteem won't allow you to choose a better day and a better way. You know, I would have had to dismiss her ass. I would not have continued to show this level of grace to my daughter. I do understand, but yeah, she would have had to go. And if she couldn't live without him, baby, if telling JAVON to go came at the expense of her ass leaving too, because she ain't gonna let him go, goodbye and good riddance. And don't let the door hit you where the good Lord split you. Because this could have been towed up. Hold on, y'all. My eyes are drying out. I think this fan is blowing my down. Where we at? Olga became so afraid of what Hadley would do that she ran out of the room, grabbed a machete. Olga remained fearful, frightened, and shocked by the attack and by Hadley's angry, violent behavior. Millie was likewise deathly afraid for the safety of both Demoree and Olga, so much that she left the house to summon the police because she was afraid Hadley would unalive them all. Desiree was alerted to the situation, immediately called Demoree, but Hadley, in another example of exerting control over Demoree, answered Demoree's phone. Hadley sounded incoherent and his rage was palatable. Fearing for her daughter's life, Desiree attempted to calm and distract Hadley, trying to buy time until help arrived. About an hour later, law enforcement responded to the scene. They questioned Demoree only 2 feet from Hadley. Demoree lied to the police, who ultimately made no arrest at the time. And remember, we already have police incidents of the police saying that, you know, she be capping and caping for this ninja. And, you know, she be disinterested in pretty much, you know, pursuing charges. And then that's further corroborated by the state attorney's 11-page memorandum, where they also said they could not, you know, fulfill charges against JAVON because the victim was non-cooperative. After the incident, Demoree called a friend, and the video surveillance recorded her telling her friend that Hadley had grabbed her by the neck. Over the course of Demoree's relationship with Hadley, plaintiffs repeatedly observed bruises, scratches, and other injuries on Demoree's body. Aware of the escalating danger, Demoree herself began quietly documenting her injuries and saving them on devices later recovered from the family home. For example, on October 19th of 2023, during a video call, Denise noticed a fresh knee injury. When asked, Demoree insisted that she had fallen while playing sports with relatives, an explanation that, like so many others, appeared to deflect concern and conceal the truth of Hadley's ongoing abuse. Hadley's pattern of using other methods to control Demoree contaminated the atmosphere of the household, affecting not only Demoree, but every person who lived under the roof. Family members regularly overheard verbal tirades and witnessed Hadley denying Demoree entry into their shared bedroom as a form of punishment. On one occasion, Olga witnessed Hadley outside the home pinning Demoree up against the house while shoving a fist into Demoree's stomach, my God. But Demoree later came into the house and denied the incident. Further, on June 2023, the home security system captured audio of one such episode. Hadley says, "You are effing R itch. Everybody want what you got and you don't even know it because you want what everybody else got, stupid ass. You don't even see it, effing arted, bitch. But I made some sense tonight, though. Didn't I make some sense tonight? I'm talking to you." Demoree says, "Yes." Hadley says, "I never wronged either. Check my resume, yo." Demoree says, "Yes." Hadley says, "This whole week, don't come in this room." Family members also witnessed that Hadley was laser focused on getting money from Demoree, aside from controlling all of the money from their supposed joint landscaping business. Peacock Hadley demanded payment from Demoree that she earned from her regular daytime job. Text messages also confirmed that Hadley used threats against Demoree on a regular basis relating to Peacock and sometimes relating. Matter of fact, if y'all want to make payments to the King, because the King is working, the King is publishing, the King is reading, writing, commentating, critically thinking, baby. I mean, it's a whole circus over here, baby. We are walking, chewing gum, and tying our shoes all at the very same time. Okay, so if y'all want to show some love to the Kane, baby, y'all can do that on all the things on the screen. Let's see here. For example, on June 14th of 2023, Hadley texts Demoree, quote, all I know is you better hope they effing truck can fit. If it's trash and trees blocking side entrance of the lot and they can't get close enough to on outside, that's your ass. You better pray. I'm telling you, I'm going to devour your hopes and dreams if it didn't fit. All I'm saying is you better fix it or I'll fix you. These text messages are direct threats of harm against Demoree. The text messages leading up to threats revealed that Hadley was upset that the truck used to lawn work may not fit through the entrance of a job site scheduled by Demoree. Hadley was clearly threatening that if the truck did not fit, he would harm Demoree. Despite the initial understanding that Peacock was a joint business venture between Hadley and Demoree, which Demoree funded through loans that her mother later paid off for her, Hadley was obsessed with diminishing Demoree's interest in the business. In fact, as observed by her family, Demoree did not keep or control any money. Still, Hadley threatened to force her to reduce her percentage on September 9th of 2023, a couple of days before he assaulted her, and again tried to get her to reduce her percentage. The following was recorded. Hadley says, man, talk. B, you never disagree with me. Nobody disagrees with me. I'm the right MFer. Da, if you disagree with me, you're stupid. Demoree says, why would I do a percentage change? Hadley says, because I'm the effing boss and I feel like doing a percentage change. Demoree says, no. Hadley says, no, B, I'm the boss. Hadley had so much control over Demoree that he repeatedly had her say or do things that were demeaning and aimed to humiliate her. In text messages Demoree sent to Hadley on October 18th, 2023, Demoree pleaded, quote, you told me in order for you to not leave me to get on my knees. I'll do what you said. You said later tonight or tomorrow I could get on my knees. And I'll suck your D tonight and get on my knees. You can hear what sounds like Hadley pushing her out of the door and slamming the door shut. You won't, this is a text, you won't lose anything because we made an agreement last night that I would do everything you say. Last night was the last time this ever happens. I would do what I say. I'll never ruin anything because I love you. You told me in order for you not to leave me to get on my knees, I'll do what you said. So I think this is what Demoree had to be referring to when she was in your comment section saying, you have no idea. She's recorded us having SEX. This must be that incident that she's talking about. I mean, once again, I mean, you live in a house that's fully surveyed because the house houses disabled elderly people. And according to your mom, you wanted even additional surveillance in the home, etc. And hell, according to your mom also, we now are assuming that was also because your man was wanting to see your every movement, and so you were accommodating that. And once again, it's appearing that she's misrepresenting things to make her mom look like a cookhead, when she knows exactly what's going on, and this is all just a cover up to protect her alleged abusive ninja. Even on those occasions where Demoree was not allowed to sleep in or enter the bedroom, Hadley forced Demoree to make him lunch and dinner and bring the food to the bedroom door. In text messages with Hadley the following day on October 19th of 2023, Demoree promised, quote, you won't lose anything because we made an agreement last night that I would do everything you say. Okay, we just read all that. Hadley routinely called Demoree derogatory names such as stupid, dumb, dummy, lazy, and bitch. For example, on November 19th of 2023, in text messages, Demoree begged Hadley, JAVON, please, I admit I was wrong for yelling and raising my voice, but when I don't do that, you insult me and call me bitch, dummy, and say, talk again, I'll slap you in the face. You've done that just yesterday. I get you saying it's out of reaction to me over talking. I don't know why you feel that way because I have never called you a name in my life. You have the power. I do what you say. I don't ever tell you what to do. You overpower me. Just a couple of days later, on November 22nd of 2023, Hadley expressed to Demoree that he was upset with her, telling her that shut the F up and calling her a dumb bitch. Demoree responded, quote, I said I would do everything needed to make it up. I said that on the phone and I will. His response, you can even shut up while I talk, dummy. On December 1st of 2023, Hadley continued his pattern of verbal degradation and isolation in the family home. After Demoree missed his call, he lashed out by stating, quote, don't sleep in my bed until after the holidays, followed by shut the F up and, quote, all December, don't come around me unless you suck in D or massaging. Wow. These remarks were intended to humiliate, control, and actually coerce Demoree. Wow, wow, wow. And remember when Desiree had put the text thread in her motion to dismiss, and she was bringing up the actual coercion and abuse, and the daughter was like spiraling and was like, don't you ever say that if you ever make those claims again. Basically, I'm gonna stop, communicating with you. Stop. Da-da-da. Man, she didn't even want to hear none of this shit. Daughter been far gone like hell, baby. Far gone, baby. The family been doing everything they could. Man, and the fact that they're getting retaliated against, and this woman is trying to weaponize social media and the courts, and how much of that is her, how much of that is the push of her boyfriend, because, the family says in this complaint last year that, he had been trying to push Demoree to sue them, and now that's come to full fruition in 2025. So this has been long in the works, according to the family. And the fact that their lawsuit came before before Demoree's is proof of that, because they made these claims before Demoree's lawsuit came against the mother. The same day, Hadley also tried to weaponize Demoree's family against her by suggesting that they thought she was unintelligent and not good enough for Hadley. In a text message Hadley sent to DH on December 1st of 2023, he wrote, quote, you're not mature enough for me, Olga was right. Minerva was right. Des was right. You're not smart enough or equipped, and you're a B. All of them say that, and you know it. On December 13th of 2023, Demoree wrote, quote, I got on my knees like you asked and apologized and bargained. Please, I will do everything needed. It won't ever happen again. I'll sleep in couch and I'll never, ever make you react this way. I promise. No, JAVON, please, please. I got on my knees and I'll go upstairs now again. I'll do everything you said. Please, this won't happen again. Please, I'll get on my knees again. I'll do whatever. Girl, this baby. I ain't gonna hold y'all. I ain't got no problem with the mama enacting the Baker Act. Demoree may be high functioning like a lot of people. A lot of people can be well put together and high functioning in a lot of areas of their life. They can be competent in business. They can be a great friend, great grandson, great all this stuff. But it is something about intimate romantic relationships that can expose a person to the worst aspects of themselves, expose people to the fractions in their self-esteem, the fractions in their self-image. And this is something that's very, very, very particular and unique to romantic relationships because of the intimate nature of romantic relationships. And this can also be a blind spot when it comes to people who are abusers as well. Because as far as the rest of the community is concerned, like, oh, wait a minute, what do you mean this person is abusing you? They are kind, they're loving, they are this, that, and the third. It's like, yeah, all that can be true. They are great and amazing in all those areas. But intimately, there's a whole other shadow self that is manifesting. And this happens across the board. There are so many well-liked people in the world who are maniacs, personally. You don't know that until you get into intimate relationship to them. If you exist as a fan, you may not know it. If you exist as an associate, you may not know it. You may not see it. If you exist, at any distance, you may not know that. It's only the people that have intimate access that end up seeing the other side. I completely understand why the Marchman and Baker's Act was enacted, and I can't say that I would have done anything different than Perez did. I mean, my God. And actually, why Demoree is going so hard makes even more sense now that this lawsuit has been published. This lawsuit is available. This lawsuit has been a thing, I think, since 2024, because Demoree not only has to clean up JAVON's image, she got to clean up her own. She's definitely angry. She's getting her lip back, and she needs to deflect from feeling humiliated by her family, pretty much, holding JAVON accountable for his behavior. And she can't let that be attached to her name and her legacy, all her begging, all of her self-loathing, all of her low self-esteem, all of the self-deprivating behavior she subjected herself to, and then the alleged reality of her toxic ass relationship to her dude. So it's given that this lawsuit this year from Demoree to Desiree is definitely completely and utterly retaliatory. It's escalated and exacerbated by the fact that her mom really went balls to the wall to intervene on her behalf by having her psychologically evaluated, etc. Trying to hold her boyfriend accountable, the family getting the police involved at times where they feared that things were going to take a fatal turn. And I have a feeling that the family right now is experiencing some narcissistic rage from both Demoree and the husband. And once again, we have footage of him punching her. We know that abuse is happening. We have audio, we have footage. And Demoree is lying to us. She's saying on social media that it's all fake, but saying in the courts that, well, it's real, but it was illegally obtained. So we know that she's playing mind games. We know that she's alley-ooping. We know that she, is lacking integrity, etc. And this is a mess. What's going on, Miss Beauty? Unfortunately, Desiree needs to let her daughter go. I agree. Stop funding her lifestyle. You can't save someone. Yeah. And that's the hardest thing to come to terms with when you're the loved one. That's the hardest thing to come to full terms with, is letting them go. Because it's in your nature, because you love them, you care, you're invested in the quality of their life. And obviously, like, being a parent of an adult child who is in a tumultuous, violent situation is probably one of the most heartbreaking and extreme situations a parent can be in. So really coming to terms with that and letting that go and having the strength to really let that go, while it is probably one of the hardest things you could ever do as a loved one, certainly as a mother, certainly as a mother to a daughter, to watch your daughter be victimized and controlled in this way. Yes, at some point, especially when the situation is costing everyone else too. Yeah, unfortunately, you do have to allow a grown person to choose hell. You don't want that for them, but you do have to tap into the love of Christ and let people choose hell. Christ demonstrated that to us when he allowed the rich man to go on about his way after he told the rich man what the price of heaven would be, which is to give up all your earthly treasures to the poor and come follow me. The rich man said, baby, that's a little bit too costly for me. I'm going to return back to them earthly riches, sir. Catch you on the upper class side of town. And you didn't hear about Christ running behind that damn man, begging him. You know, the scriptures say that God desires, you know, no one to perish, but people will. But it's not the desire of spirit that people would perish due to their ego, due to their ignorance, due to their pain body. But people will perish. So letting people choose their poison is one of the greatest feats that you can muster doing, but it is necessary because there's no point in you both going down in flames. You exhausting your mental health, other people, you know, putting themselves in dangerous situations just to save one person who continues to choose that reality again and again and again and again. You got to let them go. You got to let them go. And you got to get yourself in therapy, even if it takes that to let them go. Get yourself in therapy. Build up that self. Come to terms with that hardship. Do what you got to do to get to that point. Hadley's tactics to control Demoree, including calling her incessantly when she was not at the family's home. Hadley became angry whenever Demoree was not home, especially if she was with family. Consequently, Demoree was constantly petrified and in a rush. Demoree often recorded herself on her phone while driving to demonstrate her whereabouts to Hadley. Hadley also excessively controlled Demoree's spending and relationships. Demoree had to pay Hadley weekly fees from her payroll check, and she called funding. She was not allowed to spend money without this approval. Denise was troubled that Demoree had to ask for permission to even make small purchases. Denise recalls one instance when Demoree was not permitted to buy herself a tea at Starbucks, and Denise ended up paying for it. Hadley also searched Demoree's phone, and Demoree was not allowed to keep photos of friends or others. This caused Denise extreme concern and distress. Over time, family members witnessed marked changes in Demoree's behavior. She became anxious, paranoid, fearful, moving through the home with a sense of hypervigilance. Denise later reported that Demoree confided thoughts of suicide, a cry for help amid the escalating abuse. Family members eventually feared Demoree was abusing prescription drugs to help cope with the abuse. Okay, so they were under suspicion that she was developing some type of coping mechanism. They assumed she probably had to be because there was too much going on. So they were under belief. Denise later reported to the police that Demoree was afraid that something bad would happen to her or her relatives, including her grandparents. Demoree felt that there were cars that were following her. For that reason, on one occasion, Demoree hid her grandfather in a room so that something would not happen to him. A family member later discovered additional footage that captured examples of Hadley's abuse conduct that was later provided to Desiree. The footage included video from January 16th of 2022 and audio from September 11th of 2023, which are the audios and videos that are on Twitter, both documenting disturbing incidents of violence and harassment that had taken place inside the family home. In the first such instance, Desiree observed that on January 16th of 2022, Hadley approached Demoree as she retreated in fear, punched her in the head, grabbed her by the arm, and shoved her through a door in the family home, all which was captured by the security systems. Desiree also listened to the audio from the September 11, 2023 incident, which captured the verbal, physical, and emotional abuse her daughter endured that day. The audio recording told a harrowing story. Desiree had already been deeply shaken by the incident, having experienced the aftermath of it herself on the phone. But hearing the recording of what Hadley did to DH further traumatized her. A recording of the September 11, 2023 incident is available at audio link there. In the September 11, 2023 recording, Hadley is heard screaming to Demoree and angrily demanding that she reduce her percentage, referring to her percentage of income from their joint lawn service business. He repeatedly ordered her to lower it to 5%, saying, 5%, change your percentage to 5%. I'll pay you what I want to pay you because you're going to be a 5%. Demoree. Suddenly, the sound of a drawer opening is followed by a loud thumping noise resembling a GUN being slammed onto a surface. Hadley then coldly asks, "You cool with 5%? Demoree replied, "Please don't," and began crying. Hadley yelled at her to shut up, and then a sound like someone being slapped can be heard. Hadley then mockingly tells her, man, stop it. And moments later adds, you fake ass crying. I feel like breaking this MFer. Then the sound of a drawer closing is heard, indicating the GUN was returned to where it was taken from. Hadley then said, quote, effing my mama, you know your mama thinks you're the dumbest MFer. No one. No, look me in my eye. Look me. Okay, so that's all the audio that we have heard, you guys. Hadley recognized that this abuse was being recorded, but believes himself to be untouchable because of his abusive control over Demoree. On November 19th of 2023, a text message from Hadley demonstrates that he arrogantly assumed that the evidence would never be enough to hold him accountable for his violent attacks against Demoree and the lasting emotional harm he has caused for Desiree and her loved ones. I'm not going to jail because I never do anything. With all the audio and video, cops being caught, witnesses, and still not enough evidence, or I'd be in jail already. I know that's my point. I never disagreed. I'm on your side, and I'll do everything we agreed on. It won't happen again. I'll sleep downstairs. I will do everything in my power to make you happy. Traumatized by the recording of Demoree's abuse in September 2023, Demoree reported Hadley to law enforcement on December 30th of 2023. The police arrested Hadley for the January 14, 2022 punch to the head, which was captured on video. Unfortunately, the Miami-Dade State Attorney's Office declined to act on the case once that occurred. However, Desiree, Olga, Millie, and other family members circled back with the Miami-Dade Police Department and asked them to consider arresting Hadley for the September 11, 2023 incident. Therefore, Hadley was arrested for that assault on April 5th of 2024. Sadly, Desiree's discovery of the security system recordings was only the beginning of evidence discovered that corroborated and further detailed the horror that Demoree and others in the family home had endured. Shortly after Hadley's arrest, Demoree and Hadley moved out of the family home in September of 2023 after the assault on September 11th of 2023. Demoree left an old cell phone and a download of her cell phone, which she had synced to a computer at the family home. Desiree then reviewed shocking content that these abandoned items, including a very recording on DH's phone, in which she says, quote, this is not grape. I'm doing what I want to do. You can hear another man talking in the background and Hadley responding, quote, what the F? No, grape is stupid. A video. The recording is dated July 18th of 2022, the same day GH had texted Millie to tell her Hadley had graped her. Wow. The video captures DH and Hadley in the bedroom as seen here. After suffering under the tremendous abuse for some time, Demoree began telling stories to family members about strangers who were victims of human trafficking. Olga and others heard Demoree say things that were exaggerated and untrue. For example, on one occasion, Demoree called Olga shortly after leaving the family home and told Olga that she saw a girl sitting in the park whom she believed was being sex trafficked and demanded that she and Olga help this young woman. While Demoree was telling the story, she was sobbing. Olga asked her if she got out of the car. Demoree replied that no, and that she had just seen the young woman on the floor in the park and added, quote, I know she's been trafficked. Demoree kept yelling at Olga, you have to help her, in a frantic and sobbing voice. Family members also noticed that Demoree's speech was becoming increasingly slurred. She had become easily agitated and angry and seemed delusional, at times even incoherent. So much so that some family members strongly believed that she was abusing. Okay, so this was the behavior that led them to believe that maybe there was some type of narcotic or, you know, abuse of narcotics. In fact, text messages recordings reflect that Demoree was suffering trauma and was suicidal. These texts were gut-wrenching for Desiree to read. Desiree also found a note Demoree made on her phone dated May 11th of 2022, in which Demoree said that she felt dead inside. Now, once again, what's crazy about Demoree's lawsuit, right, is that she's claiming, oh, my mother hacked my phone. So she's trying to explain away, you know, all these things that we now can assume are true, because she's acknowledging that these things are true, at least in the court filings, but that they've once again all been illegally obtained. Her mother's perspective is that no, I have not illegally obtained your phone that I got for you, that you left behind, is synced to the family computer, and that's how I accessed, you know, all of these things that are here. This is a text thread for work. This is different. No, not true. Called Juwan and asked him for my mental health and trauma and PTSD. This is not good for me. He's talking about living with his mom. Okay, this is the text message. This is part of the text that Desiree put in her motion to dismiss. He's talking about living with his mom until we move back. I will not allow that. Please, I need you to understand and help. Mental health and trauma, baby. Yes, because I did nothing wrong and we should be united, not separated. Please talk to him. I don't want to be apart, period. It's not right. Unfortunately, Hadley's arrest only further exacerbated Demoree's mental. Hold on, y'all, for 1 second. Hold on. Y'all, thumbs up. Hold on for a minute. Hold on. Let me play y'all some music super quick. Hold on for 1 second. I'll be right back. Y'all, thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up. If you're enjoying yourself, run me them likes. We need a 30-second intermission. My God, today. All right, we are back. We are back, y'all. All right, where were we? Lashed out, exacerbated. Okay, unfortunately, Hadley's arrest only further exacerbated Demoree's mental volatility, further tearing the fabric of the family relationship. Demoree lashed out at Desiree and even threatened to blast and embarrass her publicly if Desiree did not seek to have Hadley released after his first arrest in December of 2023. Finally, after finding and assessing the overwhelming evidence of Hadley's brutal abuse, the entire family came together and shared their individual experiences. And because of Demoree's clear mental health deterioration, they collectively agreed that Demoree needed professional help. Indeed, Demoree's family agreed that they had recently observed that her speech was slurred. She was becoming agitated and angry easily, and she seemed delusional at times, even incoherent. Fearing that Demoree was at risk of suicide and simultaneously abusing prescription drugs, the family decided to seek help, filing first a Baker Act petition and then a Marchman Act petition, praying that medical professionals would identify Demoree's mental health issues and save her from the nightmare which had become her daily life. Unfortunately, Demoree left treatment without getting the long-term therapy she needed and went right back to her abuser, a common but unfathomable occurrence. Shortly thereafter, to the horror of the entire family, the two married. It is worth noting that in a jail call after his arrest, Hadley was recorded stating that marrying Demoree meant she cannot testify against him. Desiree's discovery of the recordings of Demoree's brutal abuse caused her overwhelming distress and fear for her daughter. To learn that the family home was being used to terrorize, humiliate, and degrade Demoree, along with instilling fear and horror to everyone else who resided in the family home that was meant to keep everyone safe, has been extremely agonizing and harmful. Once the scope of what Demoree had been living with under Hadley's control began to emerge, Desiree, Olga, Millie, Denise, and the others became overwhelmed by fear and anxiety. Witnessing Demoree's abuse, coupled with the ongoing threat from Hadley, made it impossible for anyone in the household to feel safe or carry on with daily routines. Desiree, Olga, Millie, Denise, and the other family members were plagued by sleepless nights and constant worry for Demoree's safety and her mental stability. Olga, terrified by the abuse she witnessed, was paralyzed with fear of Demoree's safety. She described hearing Demoree scream, quote, Mama May, in terror, pleading with Hadley not to hurt her. These traumatic experiences left Olga overwhelmed with helplessness and a long-standing feeling of dread. Millie was similarly affected, experiencing intense fear and anxiety from the ongoing abuse, and lived in constant fear for Demoree's well-being and that of Julio, Olga, and her own. Additionally, Denise, aside from the trauma of witnessing the abuse, was consumed with guilt for not being able to protect Demoree, adding to the emotional toll on the family. Distressed and overwhelmed by what she had witnessed and experienced, Desiree also sought professional help and contacted a psychologist for guidance on how to cope with the trauma and emotional toll of the situation. Further, Desiree, knowing that Hadley, driven by a bizarre and sadistic obsession, logged into the surveillance cameras and watched and listened to Desiree and her family during their most private moments, clearly intending to exploit their vulnerabilities, caused her immense harm. This violation has left a lasting emotional and physical toll on Desiree, Olga, Millie, Denise, and the rest of the family. In addition to emotional harm, Desiree has had to hire professional security consultants at a substantial cost to re-secure the systems, reestablish network security, and conduct an investigation into the breaches of her privacy. Further, she has paid for professional help from psychologists, abuse experts, and lawyers. These costs, wow, total more than $2 million. Additionally, the security systems were inoperable for a certain time, leading to added expenses for in-house overnight care for her father and other associated costs. They are suing for count 1, violation of Federal Computer Fraud and Abuse Act, which ironically, once again, some of these same counts, Demoree is suing the family for in return. Count 2, violation of the Stored Communications Act. Count 3, and they're only suing JAVON, not Demoree, who in return is suing her mom and her mom's businesses, etc. Wow. Count 4, violation of Florida Security of Communications Act. Count 5, invasion of privacy via intrusion upon seclusion. Count 6, private nuisance. Count 7, intentional infliction of emotional distress. And prayer for relief. Plaintiffs respectfully demand a jury trial and a judgment awarding statutory damages, compensatory damages, punitive damages, reasonable attorney fees, and costs in any further relief as the courts deem just and proper, you guys. Y'all, baby, this is a case for the century. This is a case for the goddamn century, y'all. This is a case for the century. Do y'all know that? This is the lawsuit from the family against JAVON Hadley, Demoree's husband. I believe, let me see, I'm about to log into Pacer, see if I can pull up the entire docket, because I want to see when this was filed. I believe this was supposed to be filed 61 in 2024, I believe. This lawsuit came before Demoree's suit. Let me see here if it's in Pacer. Nope, it's not. I'm gonna have to X cyber security. What is this? Let me see. I don't think this is what I'm looking for. This is what I'm looking for. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna have to contact my street committee member. Yeah, y'all, this is insanity. My street committee. Why? Like, right, Pam? I'm talking about wow. That was even worse. It's like bad. I'm gonna be honest. If I had to give it to who's what, based upon all that we provided, them exposing the fake ass audio device that was not a audio device that came out of a $7 Amazon toy that was actually in the family room that JAVON and Demoree was cohabitating in is epic. The fact that we now know that Demoree, based upon police incident reports as well as the state attorney's 11-page memorandum, that, you know, she mischaracterized and misrepresented the case against her husband and the attempts by her mom to get the husband, you know, apprehended accordingly. The fact that we know she's also lied to the public about the audio and footage being AI, all this, etc., only for her to turn around in court filings as well as statements from the state attorney's office establishing that this is real evidence. The only issue was the way in which this data was obtained, which according to Demoree, of course, was illegal, while she's in Pam's comment section saying that, you know, 3024 technology was used, you know, a SpaceX technology was used to create, you know, all of this deep fake shit. Okay, it was, yes. Okay. Chef, can you send me the docket or a screenshot of the docket? It says a 4/8. Hold on. It was, yes, 4/8/2025, which was closed. Okay. Then she opened a, hold on. What? Hold on, who had opened another one? Chef? What? January, February, March, April of this year, which was closed. Oh, so they had amended this complaint. Is it a amended complaint against the husband? So it's basically ongoing. Is what you're saying? It was 2, but 1 got closed. I wonder why it got closed. I think, I don't know, I got closed. Interesting. Yeah, I need access to that docket so I can get up into the things. Now, the street committee chef then sent me JAVON's motion as well as I forgot who else's motion. So we're going to check that out tomorrow, you guys. These live streams are not supposed to be 2 and 3 hours, but, you know, because we have to do so much reading and they have to do commentating, they end up, you know, being 2-3 hours. I don't want to make the live stream another damn, you know, 3-4 hours. So we're going to come back and do a part 3 now. Is this part 3? I went live how many times today? Let me see. Shoot, this is technically part 3. Yep, part 3. Okay, so this is part 3, honey. Part 4, we're going to get into the husband's, I guess, response in this lawsuit. And Desiree, I guess, responding to Devon response is what you're saying, Chef. So we got 2 responses to get into in part 4. And then remember, in the lawsuit that Demoree filed against her mother and ROC Nation and every goddamn body else who lives in the state, Demoree has to the 10th to file a response to her mother's motion, her mother's amended motion to dismiss. So, you know, I'll be keeping you guys updated on all of that. Pam, keep checking motherfuckers over there and tell them to Google you. GOOGL me. Baby, tell them the Google you, sis. Okay? Thank you, Chef. Thank you to the street committee, y'all. I will see you guys in the morning. This is so wild. Demoree, I would recommend that you just stick to your case. Y'all got enough legality going on between your man being sued by your family and between you having to deal with these allegations you done made legally against ROC Nation and etc. Girl, it appears that you and your attorney didn't think this one through. I don't know if y'all know anything about Alex Spiro, baby, but y'all about to find out. because Out Spirit was about to take y'all to complete task, baby. They do not play over there at this ROC Nation, honey. F what you heard. So things ain't looking good, child. But like I said, right now, what I can say that Demoree has on her side is the court of public opinion, who for whatever reason don't like Jay-Z, they don't like ROC Nation, and they're just waiting for the downfall of ROC Nation. So every time anything happens, honey, they, you know, latch on like, okay, this one. You know, I was talking about Google Me by Kim Zodiac. That was my favorite. Y'all gotta listen to Kim Zodiac. That was the second hit she tried to make after Tardy for the Party on Real Housewives. The song gets a whole cackle. But yeah, you guys, tell me what you guys think. I'm curious to even see what the husband had to say. That's gonna be fascinating. So y'all gotta tune in the morning to catch what the husband got to say, girl. I want to hear him speak to all of this. I want to hear what he got to say about all of this. I'm curious to see what type of time he on. Street committee, send me all the things, you know, because I love to report everything. And accordingly, shout out to Pam. You guys, make sure you guys are subscribed to Pam the Law Esquire, baby. She over there getting into the dockets and the readings and the legal breakdown, getting into the lawyer breakdown. So make sure that y'all subscribe to my girl. And if y'all enjoyed yourself here, make sure you show some love to the Cash App, $Consciouztv, and or PayPal.me. Email me all, you know, relevant tea, celebrity tea, Consciouztv at gmail.com, and or follow me on Instagram and, you know, send me a DM. I opened up my settings so that anyone can message me. And, you know, follow me everywhere else. I love you guys, and I will see you all later. Good night.